Sound production. Sound production. Sound production.
Good evening, gentlemen. It is your boy Sirius. Welcome to tonight's stream. And the stream is, why do we keep doing this to each other? And what I mean by that is, why does the black community has the urge to just tear each other down? And yes, I'm saying this because I'm a black man myself. And I experience this type of bullshit myself. We're definitely gonna get this. We're gonna get into it very soon. But before we begin, hopefully the Red Ranger accepted my StreamYard request. I sent a couple of StreamYard invites in the chat. But if he doesn't want to do it, it's all good. But I'm about to talk about some real shit very soon. Very soon. Oh, never mind. Okay, he's here. All right. False alarm, chat. False alarm. I'm gonna see who's in the chat. It's gonna be Frost, Revan, what's good? Frost. Sama was good. August Lion, ZK Studios. Tara, welcome back. What's going on? He says, I'm a white dude raised in a black community in the woods of East Texas. Why y'all doing thin? It's all the fault of Sims and not being taught female nature. Love and respect, brother. See, with the help of with the help of Red Ranger, we'd be able to break it down Barney style of why the black community is in the state of what it is today. You know. Now once again, of course, we're not gonna agree on 100% of the situation, but I guarantee you as well, I'm sure we shared similar experiences. Guaranteed. So Tunar, what's going on? Of course, Moon was good. Kono, Gatekeeper, Dr. Magnum, Spider. Who else? Well, of course, Red Ranger. Of course, he showed up 10 minutes prior, right? Because it's 10 minutes prior before 10 minutes prior. You know what I'm saying? Where's the JD? What's up? And I think I got everyone. Everybody that's new, don't get mad. Line the MGTOW, hey, if you want to join in this conversation as well, I would love to have your input. Let me go ahead and send in the invite one more time if you're able to join. Okay, that's good. And before I begin, you guys already know I always do my shilling in the beginning. If you want to support your boy Sir Yeetus, link on top of the chat, Cash App / Sir Yeetus. Any donations appreciated if you feel that I'm worth your investment. I honestly got a few artwork that's being done thanks to you guys' donation. One of them is from Moon. Moon, she has some pretty interesting art. Not gonna lie, she's very impressive. And she's doing her thing. So, thank you guys that donated because there will be some changes to my channel very soon. All right, I'm going to add the one, the only Red Ranger. What's going on, Red Ranger?
Yeetus, my brother, this is long overdue. Long overdue.
Yeah, like, didn't I invite you like 7 months ago?
Yeah, dude. Like, well, my life's been a whirlwind. Like in between moving, amongst other things, I just could not get around to it. And then Frost reached out. Then I saw you commented. I was still at work, and I saw that, and I was like, well, if I get home, like I'm sipping my. I'm not sure how long I'll be on because like I'm gonna slowly sip my pre-workout because I gotta hit my nightly gym session after work. But this is long overdue and nice to be on with a fellow vet.
Hey, let's go. See, chat, if you are not a veteran, you don't understand how close the brethren is when it comes to veterans. I'm sorry, unfortunately, veterans, they can't really depend on anybody else besides other veterans at that point. You know,
Facts.
if they have family, if they have some like, a good wife, okay, all power to you. I definitely support it. But majority of us, we don't have any of that. We don't.
I'm lucky. I'm a third generation. My mom and dad were also in, and so was my Pepe on my mom's side. So like they get it. My folks, that's how they met. My parents met at Fort Bragg. That's how they met. They were both on active duty there.
I wouldn't say I'm third generation, but my grandfather was in Vietnam as a Marine. My father, he didn't join the military, so I would say I'm second generation, I guess. I say I'm
their community. I mean, there's people I haven't actually physically seen since even boot camp, but I still am in contact with those people. and it's like it's like I saw them yesterday. It's crazy.
It is like the military world is so small. It's not be funny. I met people I thought I would never meet ever again. Like I thought that okay, they're gonna do their thing there, and I'm uh transferring to a different base. What was it called again? I forgot. Fuck.
ETSing, yeah, ETS. I think that's when you get out. PCSing. I think
PCS.
it's one of those. If someone in the chat, if we're both wrong, you can unfuck both of us and correct us.
Yeah, it's PCS, and I thought I would never see those people ever again. And then, bam! If I go to like some type of certain school or something like that, I see some familiar faces. Especially, one time I was in California to do the what was that big, gigantic training with like thousands.
Oh my god, I know what it is because it's the desert. It's on the tip of my tongue. NTC.
NTC. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember because I'm gonna drink some good shit today. But I met my drill sergeant over there.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
I was terrified. But he was acting very normal. He was cool. He was chill. He was like, you know what? I did my thing when it comes to being a drill sergeant, but now I'm just starting first class. That's all I am.
Yeah, you're one rank above me. I got my exit at staff sergeant. I was in a 7 slot. Got the school taken away from me. That's the first thing they did when I refused the jab the first time. They pulled me out of SLC, and then it went from there. But yeah, I was about to get my 7 until I refused the jab, and then they're like, "Yeah, you're not going to school." I was going to go to Camp Parks in California, which is a really good facility, a nice school, despite the state that it resides in. But they're like, "Yeah, you're not getting the jab. You can't go to school. You can't get promoted." I'm like, "Okay, I see how we're going to do this." I'm like, "Fair enough."
Yeah. And just to clarify, chat, my drill sergeant was a sergeant first class. I was a sergeant when I had to unfortunately medically retire under honorable conditions.
I thankfully, because my commander was not a dick and I deployed with him, I was his right-hand man overseas in Europe. I did not get dishonorably discharged over the vax, thankfully. They very easily could have really stuck it to me, and they didn't. So my commander was like, "Yeah, we're not going to screw this guy over just because he's making a choice." And quite frankly, command above him was, there was bullying. I wasn't the only one, but I was the guy they made the example of. But luckily, I did not get dishonorably discharged.
Which is crazy because I've heard horror stories of the fact that the military personnel, because it could be Navy, Army, Marines, Coast Guard, Air Force, and now Space Force. If they refuse to jab, they're automatically like, you're out.
Yeah, they removed the mandate since, because I had a couple buddies that got phone calls to go back, and they all told them to pound sand, and they asked me, this is right before I moved, they said, "Hey, did you get any calls?" And I said no, and if they did, I wouldn't go back. I said, there's no amount of money, there's no amount of bribery. I said, they already proved their point. And for me, what happened is they lied, because we had to have COVID screeners every day just to go to duty. So like if you had any symptoms, they'd keep you from coming to duty, and they would say you were AWOL. That's also what they were doing to force people to get the jab. If you got sick and were unvaccinated, they would AWOL you after they sent you to sick call, and you couldn't report to duty.
What the fuck?
I was in the middle of an outbreak, and because at this point I'm guard, I had switched, but I was at my civilian job, and everyone had an outbreak and got sick except for me. I tested negative, told my platoon sergeant. She then went behind my back because I was going to go see a couple of my buddies from my unit that I hadn't seen since I had deployed. And they're like, "Hey, we heard you got sick. We're looking forward to seeing you at Joint Force Headquarters. I was like, who the hell told you I was sick? They're like, oh, your unit just told us like 30 seconds ago you had COVID. I'm like, I literally just told them I was negative. So I said, okay, this is how it's going to be. You guys are going to lie about my medical status to keep me from coming. So I'm done. I called my commander. I said, sir, I'm not putting this uniform on again. Do what you will with that information, but I'm done. I'm like, this is unacceptable. And to this day, they've still never like apologized to me, and they still denied it, even though the proof is there. And I posted stuff when I was still on social media, implicating them. And the news radio show I was at that I did political commentary for, I read a letter saying that I was done, and I cited reasons why. But yeah, they lied about my medical status to keep me from coming at the height of all the scamdemic protocols that the Army was using.
Well, I'm curious. How did the commander respond? Was he cool with it? He's like, hey, you know.
Yeah, because him and I did not agree with our ideologies, even though we were both libertarian. He still had some more left-wing views, and I understand his position. Him and his wife just had a kid. They were newlyweds. He has people to support. I don't. So he didn't blame me for treating it like it was no big deal and being able to walk away. So he was good about it. He's like, hey, I'm sorry this happened, but he's like, look, I get it. He's like, I don't blame you at this point. He's like, you've eaten a lot of shit since we've gotten back from deployment. I don't blame you. But he pretty much was fighting upstream. Like, he had to really call in favors to make sure I didn't get dishonorable.
And that's what I was going to ask you. You don't have to let me know, but were you honorably discharged?
They gave me, so this is how it works. I got other than honorable, and after a year I can refute that, but it didn't like go against me. So like when I applied to jobs and stuff, it didn't pop up like it normally does. Like if you got dishonored, that shows up on your background check. Because when I got to this job out here, this construction company that I work for now, and a lot of the guys, like when they introduced me during orientation, they were like, oh, you were in for 12 years. Well, you're pretty much past the point of no return. Why didn't you go career? And I told them, and I was nervous because there were some other employers that because I'm not going to lie, I'm not a liar. And I straight shoot with everybody. Some other jobs turned me down because they looked at it as, oh, this guy was a really good soldier for so long, but he refused the jab. So he disregarded an order, because that's what it was just you. It was refusing an order. That's what they used to dishonor people.
Oh, see, I was in when the beginning of the pandemic was out there, and I was in the area where the pandemic pretty much started. Very strict rules. Not even funny. We didn't even do PT. No PT. Yep. It's like stay in your room, stay in your barracks.
That happened to me at ALC. They scrapped half the course because of COVID, and it was bullshit.
So, how you say? Do you regret that decision that you want to leave, or were you?
No, not at all. And because I'm sure in your chat you've got people that are somewhat familiar with me or very familiar with me and have seen me on other streams. So like I told my whole story on GM. She wanted me to tell my story because she did a thing about the military, government in general, like a lot of the crap, not just COVID, but the woke stuff. But so if there's anyone in this chat that's heard it before, I'll try to keep it brief. I don't regret it because when I got back from deployment in 2020, the command climate change, I'm sure, as you know, sometimes new leadership comes into a unit and it really screws everything up. I was miserable for like 2 years, and there was many factors, and the COVID thing was just the last straw.
Were you Afghanistan, Iraq, Qatar?
No, I was very fortunate. I still got hazard pay. I was in Romania, but we were there to stop Russia from doing what they've done to the Ukraine, basically. So like I said, I was very fortunate. I volunteered 5 times for those other areas, but then a couple of the guys that I met when I was in Europe, they told me every single guy that they deployed with in the past that volunteered all got killed. So the guy was like, "Dude, Sergeant, don't."
Damn.
Because I admit it, I used to beat myself about it, being like, I gave into that whole barbaric thing of, oh well, you're not a real Joe if you don't go to the hot zones, which is complete bullshit. Because other than what again, if you're not infantry or a combat unit, I mean, that's just one section of the military. But Hollywood and TV doesn't tell you this, but we all have like day jobs. We just have a uniform. Like that's most of it, as you know. But the only thing I did other than when I ran supply and logistics over in Europe was doing security. I got to do pull security with the Navy and the Air Force and working at the security gate. Now that sucked because Romanians and Bulgarians is like a blood feud because Bulgarian are still Russian sympathizers. So like when they pull up to the gate, the tension would be very different, and you're still checking the vehicles for IEDs, all that stuff. So it was like, oh wow. So you'd be out there, like if it was my day to be out there with the Romanians checking these vehicles, I'm like, is today the day that I might become scattered all over this pavement because they did something? But yeah, I didn't go. I mean, I volunteered for those other places, but politics played a part. My unit kept saying, no, we don't need you to go. And then the one time I do, I go to Europe of all places, and I was in Romania. And it was fun because I got out of my comfort zone. I got to do a lot of different shit, stuff like I'm doing now with my trade job that I started over there, just turning wrenches and doing other maintenance work. But yeah, I was in Romania. But again, I enjoyed it.
Food?
Oh yeah, they did. And I got to tell you, it was never easier being a monk than it was there, because the day we got on ground, they bring us into the chapel and the FBI's there, and they're telling us, the first thing they say is, don't mess with the ladies. Most of them are Russian spies. And they're like, they've been compromised enough times that we have to tell you, most of the women here are Russian spies. They're like, don't even bother.
This is
I'm like, noted.
Information, right?
Yeah, it was really sensitive. What's that?
Is this currently sensitive information, or is this unclassified?
This is unclassified, and it's known at this point. It even was there because like the feds were laughing when they told us this. They were like, the guy goes, "Is it worth it?" He's like, "Is it worth it, guys?" He's like, "Yeah, I know there's pretty European girls." He's like, "But this area where you are," he's like, "there's a reason you're getting hazard pay on top of your pay, because Russia's right next door." And they're like, and they have enough people here that want to ruin your day.
Okay.
So yeah.
We're going to go to the next topic, which is pretty much the main topic of the stream today. And I wanted you to be on because you were one of the only few I was able to get in contact on short notice. Are you half black, 3/4 black, full black?
I'm African, as I tell people. My mom is white and my dad is black.
African. So how would you explain the treatment that black people have amongst one another? And
it's not good. It's not good. I would call it crabs in a bucket. It's just, I don't know what it is about the community, but if anybody has success, or if anybody goes off a different path, I mean, I'm sure you've heard it, you're a sellout, but it just seems to be a lot of infighting, and it doesn't take much. I mean, you've heard the saying, I mean, you got people killing each other over Nikes in the streets before, stupid stuff. It's always something dumb that turns us against each other, in my opinion, in my experience. It's always something really stupid and trivial that makes us fight each other, and I just don't understand it. There's bigger problems, but that's just my take. I think it's not good, and it hasn't been for a while. Oh yeah, crabs in a bucket is one way that I would describe it.
So here's my question. Compared to the black community in the 1940s or 50s to now, What went wrong? Why are
Oh,
we
government's involvement. Government involvement definitely played a part. Um,
okay?
I would say because even before and again, you can just look at the family dynamics. We all know, and I'm sure you and others have heard me say it on my stuff. Before 1965, we were the most married demographic until Big Daddy Gov said, "Pick your man or pick a handout." And then, of course, Planned Parenthood reared its ugly head too. Um, yeah, the government's involvement, I would say, is a huge reason that made a change and not for the better. And to this day, you see it playing out. I mean, the division, but I would say the government's involvement is definitely a huge factor. I would say it's one of the pillars that's caused the decay from within.
So you believe in the how you say black women back in the 1960s? Because I believe that's when modern feminism came about.
Yeah.
Believed in that lie of feminism.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, that's the reason why the late Kevin Samuels would always say, your grandmothers did it better and had it a lot harder, but they did it better. You know, they didn't look at what they were doing as slavery. And I see a lot of black women say that now. Uh, Taking care of the kids or maintaining the home is slavery or indentured servitude. And I hear it in young black women, which is really sad, especially if she's in her early 20s. It's like, that's a wrap. That dog does not fight. That dog won't hunt. And there's a reason, again, like what's the statistic now? And it's more so feminism nowadays that's playing the role. 1 in 4 black women will ever marry. 1 in 4. And 80% are overweight and or obese. And people that always challenge me on that, I tell them, just go look at blackdemographics.org or the CDC. I mean, yes, I know the CDC is not trustworthy for many things, and rightfully so. I'm not saying trust them, but I mean, Black Demographics is a good place to look. But yeah, other than the government, that's my other thing I would have said is definitely feminism, especially 1960s. The great lie. You know, and even after the Cosmopolitan creator, she had an interview years ago when she was still alive, how she admitted, yeah, they sold feminism to move product, and they made up stories to sell a lie to women just to move product. You know, and black women did pay a heavy price for that, because if you look, they have no problem pumping out kids, but they are afraid of marriage. It's backwards, you know.
Oh, I definitely know. So I would say it's safe to say that black men shouldn't feel as bad that African American women are definitely not being committed anymore based on their behavior, their attitude of, future is female, black women are queens, and
Oh my God, yeah, Queens.
yeah, that even though they're like 400 pounds, they have that type of mentality. Once again, I'm black myself. I'm black as fuck. I'm black as fuck. And what I've seen in my own family is the atrocities of what black women will go through. Not will go through, what they will do in order to get what they want. They want the cake and eat it too.
Yeah, it's funny. I joke. So I have an older sister, and her birthday is actually tomorrow. But her and I always joke, and we always laugh about stuff that we see in the black community, because like we grew up. It's like my dad had a very hard upbringing, and his dad died. His dad was 49, but he was told forever by his my late grandmother, his mom, when she was alive, that dad left. So my story that I was always fed growing up was, oh, my dad came from the fatherless black home, but he was the outlier because he still got out, was successful, has a family, all this stuff, still married to my mom to this day. But then we come to find out, and of course my mom tells me this years later, and she's like, if you ever tell your father that I told you this, I'll kill you. Ha ha ha. But my grandmother cheated on my dad's dad, but to save face, she told my dad and his brothers that dad left. but his dad left because she cheated, but then she did the typical lie and made him the bad guy. And it makes sense about how my relationship with my father was, because he was fed that lie. He didn't really have the male presence, and he did take it out on me for a long time. But you hear my roommate screaming in the background. My best bro since the first grade. Shut up. But no, so I definitely saw it. My dad always told me stuff, and I think that's why he followed my mom up to Maine, because he did not want my sister and I to grow up and live in the same community that he did, that he saw that was plagued. And my old podcast, I interviewed my dad actually for his birthday this past July, and he told the story about how all his cousins, relatives said, Anthony, you're the only one who got out. Anthony, you're the only one who got out and made something of yourself. And he's estranged from a lot of that side of his family, because the crabs in a bucket thing, he got out, was successful, and they hated him for it. And they called him a sellout because he married a white woman. Number one, he married a white woman, which ticked off a lot of people on that side of the family. And then two, he became a big success, and he became a public figure in Maine. He's been a community person there. And then he's raised 2 kids. But my dad would always tell me all these stories. And one of the things he would tell me, I can't blame him for going outside the race. And you've heard it before in other channels. There's a reason why your black women are losing their men to Becky, Marisol, and Mai Ling. Because there's go ahead.
That is true, because once again, before I went to the military, I was in college for like a year and a half, and immediately when I went back home, I guess according to my community and family, I was trying to be one of the whites. I was called Uncle Tom. I'm using words that are too big for them to comprehend. And
I'm heard that.
Yeah, I'm not talking shit, but the fact that they were talking shit to me for having a variety of vocabulary, I was the asshole. All I said was, especially it was a meme with T.I., I said expeditiously. That's all I said. All of a sudden, oh, you want to speak like one of the white boys, huh? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it doesn't matter if I'm a hood nigga, or if I am a NBA player or a successful CEO. I'm black at the end of the day. You think the cops or the society gives a fuck? No. They don't care. They don't care.
Well, I'm sure you've heard this one too. I used to hear I've heard it before. You'll never be white. That's one that people had said. Or it was funny. So the school where I was, the area where I grew up in, is predominantly white. But and there was just me, my sister, and one other person who were the black kids in the school. And it was always funny because one year, I think it was my junior year, this black girl came from Texas. And my girlfriend at the time was the cheerleading captain, white girl. She befriended her, but then when she found out that I was dating her, she completely did a 180 on me. And she's like, we got to stick together, and read me the riot act, all the shame language, the sign language. And I looked at her and I was like, look where you are. I said, this is Augusta, Maine. It's white as fuck. I don't know how you expected me to turn out. I said, all my friends are white, minus a couple. I said, my dad moved us up here on purpose because he wanted to do like the exact opposite of what he grew up in. And my dad always told me too, he would always say, black people are going to give you a lot of hell because the way you talk. And yeah, I was called Carlton for the longest time. My drill sergeants called me Carlton at boot camp.
Not gonna lie, I'm gonna keep it real.
Oh yeah, I get it. Like, I've accepted it, but when I see Alfonso, I still kind of get mad because I'm like, man, I'm just me. Like, remember that episode when him and Will are pledging that black fraternity, but they only wanted Will because he was blacker.
Just about to show the video right now. I have it pulled up right.
Still show it. Please show it.
Yes, I'll show it right now. Give me 1 second. Stop that shit. I'm having another boomer moment. But before we do, before I show it, I had somebody. Where is it? He says Uncle Tom led a slave rebellion against the white slavers. How is it? How is that an insult? Well,
Exactly. I was going to bring that point up.
well,
That it's a compliment.
in my opinion, it's the same how we turn the hard N word with the R to nigga.
Yeah.
You know? Uncle Tom, yeah, it was it should be a compliment, but now for the last 70, 80 years, it's been used as a derogatory term.
Yeah, it just shows, and like, so where I lived and just moved from to in Maine, Southern and specifically, is very liberal. And I will tell you, like, a lot of those liberals were very racist, especially the white females. Like, they would say Uncle Tom and stupid stuff all the time, whether it was on dates. And I would just say, and it's the same thing I would say when I was still doing radio, when I'd have my detractors call in and say that same thing. It's like, it just tells me how ignorant you are. Because if you've ever read the book, I've read it several times. You know, Uncle Tom was like the good guy. I said, if you want to be derogatory, I said, you should be calling me a Sambo, like what Sam Jackson's character in Django was. He's a Sambo.
Right.
Like that. Yeah. I was like, Uncle Tom is a compliment. It's just, I just laugh and people, and I say, you clearly haven't read the book. Thanks for the compliment. It's usually what I say in response.
It's fucked up because once again, Uncle Tom is used by one of our own.
Exactly.
Derogatory term. But before we continue, I'm going to add the one, the only Lionel MGTOW. Lionel MGTOW, you there? I know you're there, Lionel MGTOW. Oh shit.
Can you hear me?
Barely. I can barely hear you.
How about now?
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
It's like very quiet to me. I don't know about Red Ranger, but it's quiet to me.
I can hear him, and I just realized who you were. Man, I used to listen to your wow, I just realized who that was. It's like, why does this name sound familiar? Before I even started my channel, or when I started my first one, yeah, his voice, very recognizable. That's a pleasure to be on with you.
Yeah, you too.
It is, but make it louder. I can't hear you.
Hold on one second. Let's see about this microphone. Yeah, the microphone's acting up. Hold on.
If you rewatch this, you know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes, much better. Yes.
Awesome. So, it's been a while.
So, yeah, it's been forever, Lionel MGTOW, because you know I've been busy as hell. I know you've been busy as hell. What is your point of view on why do black people just wants to tear other black people down? Like what Red Ranger say, the crabs in the bucket.
A sizable part of it is based on just low self-esteem and poverty. Yep.
Self-esteem and poverty. Okay.
Low self-esteem and
Yep.
poverty. Yep. And another like not all of it is self-inflicted. Some of it is also outside interference. And the outside interference of course, being the government. You know, they have us in derision.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I think I was like 2 years old when this show came out, but let's play this right quick. And please let me know you guys' opinions on this. And I'm sure you guys already seen it before, but we're just going to play it again for the chat. What's your opinion? I'll start with Lionel MGTOW. What is your opinion on that?
Basically, if you are not of the streets, if you don't have any edge to you, you're not really black. That's what it is.
Awesome Joe Biden shit. Like, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
Yeah,
Yep.
that horse shit. I mean, it's fucking stupid, and they have run that into the ground for a long time, and it really did them no favors. It did nothing for them.
Okay.
I mean, even to this very day, if you are a truck driver, if you're a plumber, if you're an electrician, HVAC technician, if you're IT, you're not really black. It's bullshit.
I completely agree with that. And Red Ranger, what do you have to say about that portion?
To steal a phrase I'm sure you heard in many a formations of uniform, to piggyback off of what he just said. I agree with that. It's funny that he mentioned all of the, the STEM. He mentioned all those things. Like, I'm in the trades now. Like, I'm a tradesman. I'm apprenticing. And it's funny. Even the IT head, he's a black guy. And it's funny. When he saw me when I was new, we kind of had one of those like telepathic conversations, because at this place that I work, there's not many black guys. There's another black guy in my department. But it's true. If you are a tradesman, anything like that that's not for the streets, you're not black. And that clip, like what you just showed, I agree. And to me, even though it's meant to be played off as funny, it's still pretty serious in a good way, that how media used to bring problems to light. Because I would say this to my friends sometimes, and I'd be like, you guys don't understand. It's like, I get it from both sides. But I mean, I've gotten more heat from other black people, especially when I was in boot camp, any active duty posts. I mean, it's like you go, white people are usually the minority, depending on where you go, in uniform on the big Army side. But the other black guys from like the inner city, they hated me the second they heard my voice. They couldn't stand me. Yeah.
That's crazy, because I work with people. Whether you believe it or not, chat, I had a soldier that was straight up Russian. He was.
Oh,
Russian.
yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? But he was cool. He was a very cool dude. He was my roommate. So we definitely got fucked up a lot when it comes to going to like the bar and all that shit. We went to the gym as well, though. Like, don't get me wrong, like, we still, we put our health first, kind of. But at the end of the day, me joining the military, I would never thought in a million years I'd be working with a Russian, with Chinese, with India, with this person was somewhere in South America. I forgot where this person was from. And the biggest thing, this person was from Madagascar. I was like, yo, they made a movie about you.
That's why I laugh. That's why I laugh in the media, especially during the Summer of Love in 2020, when they started renaming military installations. And that article came out on the Army's birthday from the New York Post, I think it was. And they said, why does the Army celebrate white supremacy? And I was like, you fools. We are literally the most diverse organization. The military as a whole is arguably one of the most diverse organizations on the planet. Like, so many people from different countries I worked and served with. I'll never forget one guy from boot camp at my AIT. He was from Haiti. Armand. He was the coolest guy. And they had us talk about like cultures, and they got on the subject of spouses. I didn't know this. One of the instructors asked us, who here is in favor of having multiple wives? I've never seen Armand be so happy in his life. He shot up both hands, had a huge grin on his face. He's like, I have 3 wives. He's like, it's normal there. And he's like, it is the best. He's like, all 3 serve different purposes. And I was like, what? And I'm like, in Haiti? And he's like, oh, yes, very much. He's like, all the wives. He's like, it's the fucking best.
And I work with soldiers that was part of the alphabet community. I didn't even know it. I honestly did not know until they revealed it themselves. I had to answer to an NCO that was part of the LGBT community. And
my NCO, my second mentor, she was, but no one cared. Nobody gave a shit, because we were just like, it was like, that's the thing too. Nobody's ever cared about that uniform until recently. But before all this crap, it was at least when I was still in, I know some things have changed, but when I was still in, it was, look, We don't care who you go to bed with, what you do, what you believe. But when you put that uniform on, can you do your job or are you a shitbag? You know,
But
do your job.
in 2017, when they try to push the trans agenda, and
Mhm.
I actually had to take a class, and I'm telling you right now, people
Yeah.
they were not happy, like including the first sergeant commander. Like they're like, you know what, like
Mhm.
I apologize. I don't want to teach you guys this class, but this is what my boss is telling me to do. And I'm telling you, man, I've never seen so many angry officers,
Yeah.
NCOs, and junior enlisted, all of them at the same time.
Yeah, see, nobody believed me. Like, nobody believed me until I showed them this stuff that we had to go through these trainings. Like, one of the last trainings I sat in when I was still in, we had to spend a Saturday. Of course, you know, it's always a weekend with a lot of this bullshit. We had to spend a Saturday taking in a extremism awareness course. And the first thing the lieutenant asked us was, is there anybody in the ranks that you might suspect as an extremist? And we just laughed in his face.
What the
Like,
fuck? What was that?
really? This was summer 20. I'm trying to think because I was on COVID orders at this time for the CDC. I'm trying to think. So this was summer of 2022, 21, 20, 21 or 22.
Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't in on that point. Okay.
Yeah, we had to take an extremism awareness course. The slideshow, like, I'm sure you guys remember Pepe the Frog, right?
We all know who.
According to the DoD at that time in the reg, that was known as an extremist icon, and so many of us had Pepe decals on our water bottles because we just thought it was funny. And what was also more alarming, the Romanian flag was in this slideshow, and it's like I had just deployed there, and I'm like, they're an ally. I'm like, why are they an extremist icon all of a sudden? Because if you're familiar with Romania, they have year-round protests at the border at Bucharest. That's why they were labeled an extremist icon, because they protest peacefully, I might add, peacefully protesting at the border in Bucharest. But because they protested against the government, the DoD was like, well, Romania, if you have the Romanian flag, and I'm like, well, Jesus Christ, I have friends there. It's like I just spent almost a year there. They're an ally. They asked for us to be there. You're going to tell me they're extremists now?
I remember messing with a Romanian woman. Whoo!
They love black guys. I'll tell you that.
She was fine. Fuck, I'm telling you right now, the woman I was messing with, god damn. Like, I didn't even see all of it until she stripped down to her bikini. I was like, whoa, like she had the athletic build. like I'm telling you, man, like she had that athletic build. Like a nice ass, nice I would say C cup titties, great face, she takes care of herself. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make it work because I was going to the military at that time. But god damn, she was fine. I clapped her cheeks. Okay, let's get that out the way. I was, and she was supposedly a church girl.
Of course, that's always how it is, right?
Oh, you tricked.
Yep.
Just like the born again Christians. Oh my God, those kill me.
But Lionel McTow, sorry for interrupting you because I know we were like kind of talking over you. My bad, bro. Do you have anything to say about what we were talking about so far?
I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, especially, so basically, the woman that you were with, the one that you plowed, she basically came from a traditional conservative background, correct? Or was this?
Yeah. Oh, she was adopted. She was adopted by a rich, a rich family, and surprisingly, her adoptive father was a Marine.
Oh, okay.
In Vietnam.
Damn. Okay.
So when I first went there, I was like, damn, your ceilings are fucking tall. What the fuck? You know? But I tried to do my. I remember I tried to do my thing right. When we all went to a dinner. I'm like, damn, I'm sacrificing like pretty much half my paycheck to pay for this dinner. I'm like, all right, hey, I'm gonna pay for this dinner. I'm gonna make sure you good. And then the father's like, hey, put your money away. I got you. He pulled out an entire like fucking. I never seen so much money in one hand in my life, and he did it so nonchalantly. He's like, he was just like just counting the money and just put it on the table. He was like, all right, let's go. I'm like, hey, come on, bro, don't embarrass me in front of your daughter like that, bro. Like you trying to what's going on? I know you're the alpha male, bro, but let me get a chance. You know what I'm saying? It's like he showed no mercy. Like he was stone cold. Like his face was like so stone cold when he did it. It was crazy, bro.
I mean, and you were over there in Romania when you did this, right? Or
no, here in the United States.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. I was just wondering because usually
the father had a housewife, and I'm gonna let you know right now, the housewife was a phenomenal housewife. Like even me, I was a youngin', I was 17, 18 years old. I was like, damn, you're a good woman. You're a good woman. You're not even putting up a front. Like she was actually catering to me, catering to the daughter, catering to the father. I was like, shit, I'll be fucking beyond blessed if I find some type of woman like her.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're still married to this day.
See, that's awesome.
Better chance of winning the lottery or curing cancer at this point.
Man, she set the bar high. She set the bar high. I'm telling you right now. She pretty much proved our case when it comes to Rep Hill. Because goddamn, like she was fit, even though she was like 55 years old at the time. She was fit, she was feminine, she catered to her man, she was submissive, and made sure that she was loyal. Like she was beyond, like, I don't know what's going on with them every day, but based on what my perception was, she checked every single checklist. I was like, damn, you found a good one, bro.
Yep.
You truly did.
Yeah, she stood by her man, like a June Cleaver. Yeah, good.
Yeah, and he didn't even have money like that. He was fighting for his life in Vietnam. And what he told me was, because we're gonna have those, I'm gonna talk to your boyfriend and see what's going on. He let me know that, hey, yeah, when I got back, yeah, she was still a virgin. She was still a virgin.
Damn.
I was like, what the fuck, bro? It hurt me because I'm like, we can't have that. We can't have that in this day and age.
No.
And I'm sure Red Rager can understand.
Yeah. Yeah, needle in a haystack at this point. But it's also why, like, I reiterate it on my content pretty much every video, or I try to do it for every video. I say it, I go, look, I'm not about this, but I'm not going to tell you not to be. I just say exercise caution, you have to vet. Like, I got heat for saying I was against TikTok being banned because I said it's a cheat code for guys that still want to try to date. Seriously, because that's why, and I'm not going to name the two people on their stream the other night that said channels like mine are flame content, but it exists for a reason. I try to keep it lighthearted. You're for the most part.
Wrong. Yeah, I agree with you per se. Like, I'm for both sides. Yes, I do believe TikTok should be deleted, but at the same time, we already know the saying: let a woman talk long enough,
she'll tell on herself.
Exactly, she'll tell herself, and that's what they've been doing since they've been on TikTok. They've told on themselves, and because they've told on themselves, enough young men have gotten privy to the fact that these women are out to hurt them on purpose.
And it's funny too, because there's a number. I mean, there's countless TikToks of women who had a good quality guy, or the term that I'm just annoyed of hearing at this point, high value man, that gets overused. They'll do a TikTok where the man they were trying to date seriously found their TikToks and they either dumped or ghosted them.
Yep.
Like that's yeah.
Do you know what will make things even crazier? Women in 2023, let's say 18 to 28, they truly can't comprehend. They can't understand what a man wants or why
Right.
a man curves them or rejects. They can't comprehend rejection or take accountability for their bad behavior and decisions.
They can't.
Yeah. Accountability is a foreign concept to them, even if you broke it down Barney style. But the big thing that I noticed too is like a lot of them, they seem to think that we think the way they do, and we just never have. We don't, you know, we're logical, not emotional.
Exactly.
Most of us anyway.
Mm-hmm.
They keep bringing up the wage gap. I'm like, bitch, we've been talking about this for 70 years. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, the gap that's based on choice and free will. They choose the less lucrative jobs. They choose the jobs that have the low mortality rate, and they don't work the same amount of hours, so you're not going to get paid the same.
Exactly. I don't see them out there. I don't see them out there welding. I don't see them out there working the warehouses. I don't see them out there. I don't see them out there working the cranes, the forklifts. I don't see that shit. I don't see it.
I will tell you this because I'm in a trade job and I work for a construction company. The mechanics are right next to me. So like I'm a technician. The mechanics are right next to us. There's one girl that's out there. And there's a reason for that. The warehouse, there's 2. All the other women are in the office. There's 3 women out in the yard with us. And there's a reason for that. They are the outlier. They're the exception. But again, as you know, exceptions do not disprove the rule. It further proves the rule. But again, there's one girl mechanic in this whole company. One.
Are they holding signs? Because that's all I
Oh,
see.
no. This girl, she's been in the company 3 years. She's out there working on the machines. Like I drive by her every day. Like when I'm on the forklift or I'm in my side-by-side going to go do a repair job or something. She's out there with the tools. She's working on the machines. She's fixing and rebuilding the backhoes, the excavators, everything. She's out there turning wrenches, man.
She's not waiting for the Simps to come save her?
Nope. And she has a man. They bought a house. She's been off the market, but and I talked to her the first time I talked to her. I asked her, I said, do you realize, I said to her, I was like, I'm like, clearly, you know what you're doing. And I was like, I just asked her for her experience. And she's like, oh yeah. She's like, when she first started, everybody typecasted her because she came from the parts department, but she has, even before she joined the company, she's like a lifelong wrench turner, like pretty much from birth, like her dad, like whatever. She's been around tools her whole life. So it's like, it was in her. But the thing is, it's funny. The funny thing is she's still very feminine, but again, she's in there working. She's actually the supervisor, I think, for her section.
Just because she's taken doesn't mean she doesn't have simps at the workplace.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. Oh, no, there are. Guys in my department simp for this girl, and I call them on it every day. And these are married men that are,
Wow.
But like I said, like I laugh at them, but like I'm trying to be helpful. But yeah, she's well aware of it. Like I'll watch her in the yard. Like she knows when like a guy will, like she'll be like today she was working on an excavator by herself. 3 dudes like come over and I just started laughing as I was driving by. And I'm like, you can't make this shit up. I'm like, she clearly is like, she's aware. And I just think, man, I'm like, again, you never believe this stuff until you see it. So even in this building, this condo that I'm in, right, there's event calendars, there's meet and greets. When I moved, it timed it perfectly. My first weekend here was a meet and greet, and one of the women who is like part of the condo community, she runs the events. Very attractive. There was literally, I was sitting at the bar, just talking to her about moving here and what I'm doing. And all these guys that have lived here that were much younger, her age range, I think. There's literally 10 guys just following her around. And one was like jester maxing, trying to make her laugh. Like it was pretty obvious
Oh.
And she knew. She looked at me. We had a telepathic like conversation, and she's well aware that like all these guys were pining after her. And again, you sit there and you go, it's one thing when you react to things on your channel, your content, or you talk about it, but then when you see it again in real life, you're like, oh yeah, it's still funny to watch it play out right before your very eyes.
Well, see, you know what's funny? You know what's funny is when you don't simp, because I always go into a certain bar a few years ago where they had, I think, 4 or 3 female bartenders. They mainly come to me. I tend to go to a corner. See, it got to a point where I always choose a corner. I want to get the giant fan because, you know, I love fans. I love fans. So I get the breeze from the fan and I'm drinking my good drink. I have not only the bartenders literally say, hey, you know, you want to smoke on the break? You want to drink on the, you want to go out and back and, you know, you want to talk to us? I have strangers I never met in my life buying me drink. I don't even know who the fuck you are. I don't know who you are. But they still like, hey, guy, want to get a free drink, bro? You want to get a free? I'm like, bro, like, you not notice me like being in the corner by myself? Like, I don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to sip my good shit and go home. That's it.
Yes.
Hopefully, I'll get back. Hopefully, I'll get past the military police. Okay, at the gate. You know, that's the gamble I take. But I don't know, man. Like when you just do your thing, enjoying, like having a great time, you know, watching TV or you're on your phone or whatever. People take notice instead of all these fucking young privates are just they can't help themselves just painting just when they see a fucking 5 as a bartender.
But I love her, Sergeant. I love her, Sergeant. I love her, Sar.
I'm ring shopping right now, Sergeant.
Yeah, your whole month's paycheck there, Private. Yeah.
Did you know it got so bad in my unit to the point where we literally had to have a class on finances? Like,
damn.
Oh yeah, yeah. You have the finance or the finance lady comes in once a year. Oh man,
it got very bad, and especially when it comes to buying vehicles, because you already know the typical vehicles is usually a Camaro, F-150.
Yep. Yeah, see where I lived, it was all F-150s because you know all especially the white guys in Maine. It's like every motherfucker showing up in the parking lot had an F-150.
and the truck is so lifted up, they have to hop out of the goddamn truck.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's how it is down here in North Carolina. Yeah, same thing. F-150s. You got your Corvettes here and there. Your Hellcats. I'm like, damn. Yeah.
Like, bro, what are you trying to prove? Like, what? Why are you lifting your truck so fucking high?
I'm saying,
like,
man,
you have to have a parachute to get out of your fucking car.
And that's what I call it. That's why I start calling them overcompensators. You call them overcompensators, yes.
Oh shit! But hey, let's go ahead and continue this video so we can break it down Barney style. Yeah, chat. I know we kind of went off topic, but regardless, we are having some amazing conversations. So I don't feel bad.
Neither do I.
Let us continue. You know that guy reminds me of the motherfucker that's wearing all African suits and shit, and
yeah,
he said, "Hold on, my brother, let me talk to you." Like, what?
Yeah,
we all know
fake.
that. Yeah, we all know exactly who that is. That's your stereotypical pro whack. You know, he's wearing all the dashikis, the kufi. And he talks like, "Hey, my brother," and all that shit. I'm like, "Look, man." I'm like, "Stop! It's fucking, it's cliche at this point. Stop."
I have to stop you guys right now. Fender said this show is fresh trash. Listen, just because Will Smith is a big old fucking cuck today doesn't mean the show was trash. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is one of the best shows you could watch of the 90s. And it still holds strong today. So
Yep.
I will have to strongly disagree, Senator.
Yeah, Fresh
That's a great name, the Fat Nutter.
What were you saying, Red Ranger?
I was gonna say the vet in me, like the few times in my life that I've run into those guys like that wear that stuff before they can even finish saying, you know, my brother, I've already said fuck off and I'm walking the other way, range walk style. I just have no tolerance for it because I've dealt with it, and again, it's one of those things my dad told me about, and again, I'm like, oh yeah, sure, Dad. Then it happens, you're like, wow, okay, this actually just happened. And again, like it's funny. I said this to my roommate, my best friend the other day, and I said to the guys at work. So I've gotten really close with this other black guy that works with me, and I said to my buddy the other night, I said to the guys at work, I said, this is really fucked up to say, but I'm like, Rudy is the first black guy that I've really hit it off with that didn't instantly hate me upon meeting me.
I'm sorry. I'm seeing the chat. This is the consequence of you guys being very, very easily manipulated and influenced by social media. If all of a sudden in 2023 you calling Fresh a Bel-Air trash, like that makes no fucking sense whatsoever. It's literally one of the hottest shows in the 90s.
Oh yeah,
that can't compare.
Yeah, that and Family Matters. Yeah,
that can't compare. Because once again, people change throughout time. How you were at 20 years old, you're not going to be the same person at 50 years old. You're not.
That's very true.
And if you are, then you wasted 30 years of your fucking life if you're still the exact same person. In my opinion.
I definitely know I'm not the same guy I was growing up. Definitely not. I think I've improved from what I used to be, especially before I ever joined the service and, you know, did my time. But yeah, people change. I mean, I get it. I would say, yeah, a lot of people, or at least that I know personally, don't like Fresh Prince now because of who Will Smith is now. But I'm like, the show was undeniably good, especially growing up as a young black person, you know, looking for influence. I mean, I was never high on Will Smith's music, but I did love the show. Jeffrey was my favorite character because just how he trolled the Bankses all the time.
Oh yeah.
Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil was my favorite.
Was definitely the person that taught a shit ton of life lessons. Like, I think that's the main reasons I watch Fresh Prince is because of Uncle Phil.
Yeah, Uncle Phil reminds me of my dad a lot. It was like sitting there watching my dad and watching an alternate timeline like version of my dad on TV. Especially when he scolded Will, I was like, "Yep, that's just like Dad."
And that's all I'm saying, chat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're saying the show is trash because of what Will's become in 2023. Or you honestly believe the show is trash in the first place?
And I think they're missing the point. They're missing the point of this scene, too, because it goes what we're talking about, one of the topics. You know, they're missing the point of this scene.
Agreed. And not too many people in the chat are old enough to even fucking remember per se.
See, I always forget that. Like, a lot of my audience on my channel is a lot younger than me, so I started in the habit of saying in my videos, for you younger guys out there, because I mean, I'm only 35, but I forget there's a lot of young 19, 20 something year olds in my channel.
Yep. Same here. That's why I start seeing you for the younger brothers. Yeah. Yep.
How do I explain? Once again, I don't know what you guys' intention is criticizing the show, but you need to separate the character with the actual person. You need to emphasize that. Because they're not the same.
But you know what, though, I will say, because again, unlike some streams or creators now, instead of getting butthurt because someone doesn't agree, we are respectfully disagreeing and we are continuing instead of, you know, trying to be gatekeepers or policing the chat. So, and that's one thing I've always liked about your stuff, Yeetus. And now that I'm actually on a stream as a panel guest, it's great the fact because I've watched past streams of yours where people disagree, but it never gets ugly. Everybody says their piece, and that's what there's not enough of that is what I'm getting at. There's not enough of that.
I just want to make sure it's not in bad faith.
Right. Yep.
You know, it's well, that's a whole different story. But at the end of the day, you guys, like, I'm sorry, majority of you guys can't deny that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was the shit. It still is the shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. Fresh Prince and Family Matters. I love both of them.
Yeah, not the crappy remake of the show on Peacock that is just garbage, in my opinion. I think the current Fresh Prince on Peacock, I think it is garbage. Maybe we could meet in the middle on that.
I never even took a second to watch that remake. No. They try to be all fucking edgy and shit.
I'm not touching it. Hell no.
See, I sacrificed myself so you guys didn't have to. I sat through it.
Damn.
Okay, let's keep going with this. Let's see what they have to say. Sorry.
I'm sure we've all heard versions of that. I know I have. I mean, I came up middle class, but I mean, and I had friends I had white friends point this out to me a couple times because again, my mom and dad both were military. I had a standard before I left the house, like I had to be presentable. And it's funny, a couple of my friends when we were growing up assumed we had money because I dressed well. I was like, no, my dad just won't let me go out looking like garbage, so to speak, or whatever. But I've heard that many times. It's like, I'm not going to have no sellout. Or again, when I would meet a lot of black soldiers in the army, they would just assume that I came from this type of life or that I sold out just because of how I spoke and articulated. You know, I wasn't hood, like we said earlier.
See, they wouldn't know with me because I'm able to switch on and off Ebonics.
Well, see, that's the thing for me. I had one of the few black guys that I served with back in my home state. He would always say, "Man, I love when Sergeant Gauze gets mad because the black in him comes out."
It's true.
Yeah.
When NCOs, especially black NCOs, would get mad. Ooh,
yeah.
Only other black soldiers can understand what the fuck is happening because it's you see them all confused, like why is he talking like that? Why is he saying all these bad words? And you see us black soldiers like, hey, you already know what's going on. You know what time it is. You already know. Now we're gonna have to do afternoon PT because you're a dumbass.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I'm sorry, I could not let this slide. Like what that guy just said right now, I can't. Like we're gonna have to go to the wood line if we're in the military. We're gonna have to go to the wood line. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Or you'd say, hey, we can take our rank off and do this like men. We used to say that too. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck all that. And that actually like I've seen a couple of instances personally. That was crazy. I was like,
yeah, I saw a staff sergeant rip his rank off his chest and get in the guy's face. Yeah, in the motor pool.
What rank was the other guy?
He was an officer.
Oh shit! He went after off. I thought it was usually an enlisted thing.
Oh no! Like, see, I will say this: us New Englanders, we are a different breed. Taking shit is not really in our vocabulary. So, and like I remember one of my mentors was like, "Hey man, we don't remember the scene in Starship Troopers when he's like, rank is not an issue here." It was kind of like that when I saw this guy go after an officer in the motor pool because it was his motor pool. He was the NCO, and this lieutenant was just doing things he shouldn't have been doing, and he tried to be like, "Well, I have this on my chest," and he was like, "Really, sir?" Rips his insignia off, and he gets in his face. It was great, knife hand and all, fumes spitting out of his mouth.
Damn.
9 times out of 10. the soldiers, after they get done doing their thing at the war line, they're able to shake hands and they have a new profound respect for each other.
Oh yeah.
Out of 10.
Oh
That-
yeah.
That's a specialty that men can have. We can literally beat the shit out of each other and drink a beer right after.
Oh yeah, that's the difference. Like some of my female friends growing up, I would always say this to them. I would be like, "You all realize you guys will hang on to stuff." I said, two guys can have a misunderstanding, but then once the dust is settled, it's like it never happened. But for a woman, she will take something to her grave if another female wronged her. That's why I laugh when I see a TikTok and they're saying, we should have an all-female community. I'm like, yeah, it might last 30 days if you're lucky.
I noticed female NCOs then tend to hang on to something that happened a couple weeks ago. But with the male NCOs, it's like a brand new day the next day. They act like nothing happened the day prior.
Yeah, and you can't afford to, especially if you're someone like I always had soldiers very young under me, so I couldn't have the luxury of dwelling on stuff. It was a brand new day, because if I didn't, especially I became, I think it's mainly because I was probably the only sober soldier on the post in Romania, but I became my barracks became the unofficial like therapy father session, because they're like, well, we can go see Sergeant Goth because he's level-headed and he's dealt with a lot of crap. So like all the younger guys kept coming to me, and it was my first time really cutting my teeth, because again, I'm having all these Joes I never had before, all walks of life, and I have to work with them for a year, but they pretty much came to me or my office every day because there was an issue. And I was just like, well, I gladly took that on because it helped me grow as a leader.
Even on your day off, you just can't take a break. I remember I'm cracking open the honey Jack Daniels, right?
And this is why I always say, oh, sorry, go ahead and finish.
No, I said I cracking open the honey Jack Daniels, ready to play Black Ops 4, because that's what was big back then. I'm like, let's get up my KD, let's go. All of a sudden, I had some people knocking on my door. I was like, fuck, At first started pissed off, but turns out it's like one of my soldiers. I'm like, what do you want? But then it's something serious, right? I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be a dick about it. Let me know what's happening. I kept my barracks door open because I ain't trying to get caught up with that fucking mess. Whether it's a male or a female, it doesn't matter. I keep my barracks door open, and they tell me their certain situation, and they get into some crazy ass situations. I'm like, how the fuck did you even? What the fuck? Like one instance when I was in Korea, one of the privates drove through the military gate in the golf cart.
Not even surprised.
Yeah, literally almost got shot.
Damn.
Like I'm surprised he wasn't even kicked out of the military. I'm surprised he wasn't kicked out after the fact, but he still was able to stay in. I was like, bro, you are all kinds of lucky right now. We're probably hurting for some soldiers right now, because if we weren't, you'd be out of here.
Exactly. Yeah. It's almost like, I swear, what is it? But drill sergeant said this once. He's like, a lot of you kids are smart, but you put that private rank on you because you guys become the dumbest smart people in uniform. And I swear these privates have this sixth sense, this supernatural ability they don't even know about, where they can push the limit and fuck up, but they know, well, if we're in a non-conflict time or the numbers are down, I'm not going anywhere because they need a warm body.
I have a question. When you became sergeant or staff sergeant, did you look at your privates and be like, was I this immature when I was 18 years old when I first joined?
Oh, 100%. It's cyclical. Every generation, like you go through it. Especially now into your 30s, you're just looking, you're like, oh, well, we were never that dumb, ha ha ha, but we really were. you know.
Yeah, you're
But I
probably right.
never. But I mean, because like I quit drinking well before my career really took off. So like I was even in a dad role when I was E4 Mafia before I got promoted.
Oh,
I was doing, yeah. I was thrust into it because my MOS, one of them, you know, we were always short-handed, so I had no choice but to grow up real quick. So by the time I got my 5, I was already a seasoned army dad, pretty much. So when I got to 6, it was like, well, I just have more headaches now as a 6.
I turned up my drinking to the maximum when I was in Korea. Like, especially when you're hanging out with the Katusas. Like, I'm shocked of how much Koreans can drink. Because goddamn they can drink. Fuck. I'm trying to go to sleep. Why are we still drinking at 3 a.m.? You know, type situation. This was when the curfew was lifted.
Right. That's usually when hell breaks out, when the curfew's gone.
Bro, I dead ass. I was pretty fucking, even as an E5, I was very nervous when I'm still hungover, right? I'm like, all right, let me go to this one restaurant nearby, get this omelet, because omelets are delicious. There was a person parked in the middle of the street, and then when I approached the vehicle, the person was knocked out. I thought he was dead. I thought, like, I was literally trying to like shake, like, hey, like, wake the fuck up, wake up. Good thing he made some movements, but he couldn't get out of the car. He couldn't do his own thing.
Damn.
So I did the responsible thing, and I saw the nearest. Hey, he called me a Blue Falcon, but I don't think I was a Blue Falcon in this case. There was the nearest E6 that was walking around the base that I was at. He said, and I said, hey, there's a soldier right there, right now, parked in the middle of the goddamn street. Knock the fuck out. What are you gonna do? And then all I heard was, I'm on it. You know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like, you can't call me a Blue Falcon because honestly, I don't know if that dude had alcohol poisoning or something like that, but he clearly wasn't responding to my advances in the sense of like, hey, you know, like, get the fuck up. You're parked in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
So that was one of the scariest things I had to deal with, besides being in Afghanistan. That was like, bro, how did it even get to this point? Nobody approached you. You're here at 7 a.m. in the car.
Yeah.
Work out. And believe me, I dealt with other things when it comes to like the sharp situation when it comes to.
Oh yeah, I'm unfortunately well versed in sharp because I also did EO, but a lot of female soldiers came to me because again, I didn't party, I didn't do all this stuff. So like anytime we went on trainings, they came to me to like escort them back to their barracks because a lot of the other male, even the senior leaders, doing things they weren't supposed to do with lower enlisted females, and it's just like I had to take that role on because again, everybody knew, well, this NCO doesn't drink. He doesn't get in trouble. So like we'd go to like, I'll never forget one St. Patty's Day. We were all out. We were training in Pennsylvania. And I'm at the end of the bar having my water, you know, with my guys. They're all drinking. I'm pretty much playing dad. But then you watch the dance floor, all this grab ass is going on. I'm like, you had a chief warrant officer trying to get with an E4, and it's just like, my God. And then one of them comes to me. One of the girls is like, hey, Sergeant Gauze, we're going. We want to leave. It's 9:00. We know there's no curfew, but can you walk us all back to the barracks because Chief so-and-so's doing this? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. But who do you think got his ass chewed the next day? I did, because the chief warrant officer's like, what the fuck, man? You cock blocked. I was like, yeah, how'd your wife feel about that, buddy? I'm like, if we're going to go there.
He was married.
Damn.
God damn.
Yeah.
But with my situation, my squad leader, a male E5, he was falsely accused. Yes, chat.
Yeah,
There's
saw a lot of that too.
Yeah, and it was beyond fucked up. Like, I think that's another red pill moment for me because they were so quick to take away his promotion status.
Of course.
Give him a was it a counseling or Article 15? I will assume Article 15. They were literally fucking yelling their heads off at him when he's clearly saying, like, yo, like, she's fucking lying. What are you talking about? He was attacked on all sides, not just with the chain of command, but among his peers. He was I wouldn't say he was ostracized, but it was close to that point.
Yeah.
But then it was proven that she was lying. Then
I don't know if you've ever been a witness to it, but I've had to do witness interviews or like I watched something unfold and I'm like, I know she's lying, and yet all the other leader NCOs are believing her. And I was like, you guys were witnesses, but you're all going to protect your pals instead of doing the right thing. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? I said, she clearly lied, because it's like, we're all like, when you're at some event, you're like, you're all there and you're seeing this, and it's like, consent was given, but then they have a change of heart the next day, so they do the falsely accused thing. And the structure and tier of how you do like the reported or unreported cases with that was sharp. And it's just like, man, there's a fine line. And this is also why, which was a red pill thing for me, I never shat where I ate in uniform. It was not worth it. And I would warn my soldiers, male and female, saying, hey, you need to think about this.
Yeah. And
is it worth it?
Like, see, in my opinion, based on what I've seen, he always asks for everything. He always asks, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And I'm pretty sure he asked if there's any type of consent as well, if he's going to proceed, based on my assumption. I don't know for sure. But based on the evidence and based on the stories that were told from the various parties, yeah, she was beyond fucking lying. Because she was with another man. She was with another man in her barracks, and the NCO had to come in to see what's going on because she called the NCO. She called him, and she was in the bathroom with no pants on, like crying and shit. And then we got this random man trying to defend himself. Like, ooh, I don't know what he's talking about, bro. I don't know what you're blah, 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 blah. But then the next day, my squad leader himself got accused. I'm like, yo, these bitches are crazy. That is my big red pill.
It's funny, a lot when I first started appearing on other people's streams, that's one of the first things the chat or the other guys in there would ask me. They're like, hey, did you ever, they're like, how many times did you get burned by women in uniform? I said I never did because I refused to date them. There were definitely opportunities, a couple of officers, and I was like, nope, it is not worth it. Like, I remember, so Med Command was very small where I was. I knew people there. The commander would hit on me in my chow line in uniform. And I would just sit there and be like, really, ma'am? Like, really, right now? Like,
I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it real. One of the NCOs that I remember, and the XO, god damn. I'm like, your husband is a very lucky dude. I didn't say shit. I didn't do anything, but I'm like, fuck, damn, God did you good. Like,
now I will say, there's another side that I experienced, and I don't know if it was for you in your unit or anywhere that you served, but there was a lot of swinger couples in leadership in a lot of places I was at. And it was well known. Like, there was a lot of wife and spouse swapping, especially during trainings, or there's a couple couples that I met when I was in Romania that were like that. And I'm like, hey, I'm not judging you, but just be careful.
I will say it happened to me in Arizona. This woman is clearly, I would say, cheating, because I doubt the husband even knew, cheating on him with a soldier that I clearly knew right in front of me. Right in front of me. I was like, bitch, are you married? All of a sudden, like, oh, don't make a big deal. Stop making a big deal. Sir, you need to chill out. I'm like, what do you mean chill out? What do you fucking mean? This dude is fighting for his life overseas, and you here jumping on to dick. That's how you say another red pill for me. Like, I wish I can go into full detail, because I guarantee you the full detail, you'll be like, what the fuck? But I saw this woman that's clearly married. You can see the ring on her finger. Riding.
That don't stop anybody.
Yeah. She was riding and grinding other soldiers' lap. I was like, yo, what the fuck? It was crazy.
Yeah, and it's funny because especially if you're gone away, if you have a significant other, like I remember one of my good friends who was also in the motor pool with me in Romania. His wife was in the same unit, but most of our detachment was up in Poland. She was in Poland. His room was next to mine. They were fighting every single night for the entire deployment. And I remember just laying there laughing to myself, thinking, man, this is why I've never done it. This is why I've never gotten involved or gotten serious with anybody I served with, let alone your squad, let alone the same unit. And I'm like, dude, and we would all dog this guy every day at like breakfast in the gym. We're like, oh, Richard's at it again with the old ball and chain up in Poland.
my recruiter warned me before I even joined. He said, hey, if you want to be in a relationship, wait until after your service, because more likely than not, it's not going to end well for you. And I took that to heart. There's plenty of times I could have gotten into a relationship or marriage, but based on what I've seen, like the worst one was a staff sergeant that was serving for 19 years. He intentionally left the military so his ex-wife doesn't get half of his retirement pension.
Yep. A lot of people don't realize that about these spouses. I mean, the term dependa exists for a reason.
Yeah, it definitely, I'm telling you right now, it's chat. The military is pretty much college with weapons.
100%. Yeah, that's accurate.
If you think that your wife is going to be loyal to you, don't get me wrong. There's exceptions to the rule. I actually met some very good, loyal, ride or die women for their.
Yeah. One of my best friends I met on deployment, his wife came over for the 4-day pass, and yeah, she was definitely a ride or die for sure. And she just gave birth to twins for him, so that was cool.
And I'm sorry, I couldn't even be proud of my NCO at the time. I had straight up envy. Like, how'd you find her, bro? How'd you find her? Does she have a sister? What the fuck? Does she have a sister? Because I am fucked out here. Do you know what's going on out here? You probably don't, because you've been married for a little bit. But it is. I'm not having a good time out here. Okay. The dating game is rigged.
Yeah, it's like the line. It's like, I don't know how many gamers we have in here, but like it's that line. So I love Fallout and Fallout New Vegas, the beginning before Benny shoots you. What does he say? The game was rigged from the start.
Exactly. I'm gonna let you know right now, chat. Surprisingly, there is good women out there. There is, but they're snatched up so fucking quick. You can't even realize. You don't even. If you are wondering why you don't find any good women, they're immediately gone. Once they reach up age, let's say 18, 19, or 20, they're already married, having families.
Yeah, that's pretty much the gist.
And when she came to CQ, CQ at 2 o'clock in the fucking morning just to give her husband his favorite snacks at 2 o'clock in the morning. I was like, nigga, even though he wasn't black, but I was like, nigga, where'd you find her, bro? Like, let me know. Like, give me the vicinity of the area, please. Give me the AO.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. That's like reminds me of Clerks. Silent Bob at the end when he says to Dante, he's like, "Yeah, a lot of chicks are hot, but not every girl brings you lasagna for you to lunch at work, especially after a fight."
Exactly, and I'm sure Lion Mixer would agree with that. Like, you can't find that type of quality of woman anymore. They're so rare.
No, you won't. Yeah, you won't find that here nowadays. That's before my time. You won't. Nah.
She was dressing modest. She wasn't dressing like a slut. She was actually dressed in conservative clothes. I'll give her, just based on her demeanor and based on her looks, I will give her 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. And she didn't yell at him. She didn't try to go off, try to create some drama. She was, yes, sir, no, sir. I'm going to get it done. I'm like, bro.
But most of them, as you know, it's like, especially First Sergeant's wife, you will respect our rank. You go to parade rest when you're talking to me. My husband's the First Sergeant.
Or my husband is the battalion commander or something like that.
Yes, that one too. Oh my God. You didn't salute me. Yeah, because you're a civilian.
It's worse if they're brigade. My husband.
Oh yeah, the brigade.
Yeah. I'm like, you don't have the rank. I'm not saluting you. I'm not. And good thing I never had to do any type of gate duty with the military police, because I would lose my cool so fucking quick. I couldn't.
Yeah, I only ever saw it on installations from afar. Like she gets out of the car. She's what you call a 4x4. You know, she's 4 feet tall, 4 foot wide. You know, the muffin top coming out. Oh, you know who my husband is? He's Command Sergeant Major so and so.
Here's my question. Why do people believe so wholeheartedly that the red pill / men going their own way hate women?
We never did.
Well, because I would say there is a small contingent that do feel that way. Not even the term red pill rage, but I would say, and also I think the media has played a part in that. Even before anybody like Tate or any of those people came up. But there is a small percentage, but I've always said this, like my original tagline to my first channel before it was nuked would always say, I don't hate women, I understand them.
Agreed. You know, either love or hate women. You can't do both. Not hate. You can either love or understand women. You can't do both.
And the two oldest guys that I work with at my job, they're in their 60s and they're red pill. But they're a different generation, but it's funny the things that they say. And one of the guys that is mentoring me, he says it all the time. And he's been divorced twice and he finally learned his lesson, but he's 68. But you'd never know it. This guy is still in fantastic shape, high energy, and he's so funny. We call him Senator because we're looking at him. He's an old white guy. We're out in the yard the other day, and I look at the other black guy, Rudy, and I said, Rudy, doesn't Dan look like a retired politician? Doesn't he have that demeanor? So we all call him, like, I've gotten everybody, including other departments, every time they see him, they call him Senator. Now, but you know, he said the same thing. Or what did he say to me today? He goes, "Well, you can't kill him, but you can understand him."
Damn.
Well, I'm going to ask chat. Everybody in the chat. I repeat, everybody in the chat. Put a 1 if you hate women. Put a 2 if you don't hate women. I repeat, put a 1 if you hate women. Put a 2 if you don't hate women. Because me personally, I don't hate women. I don't. I'm just holding them accountable, which how it's supposed to
Exactly.
be. There is no hate. I don't hate women. In fact, if there is some type of unicorn, which I believe there is no unicorn at this point. Well,
No.
let's say by some miracle I find a unicorn. You think that she won't be well taken care of, and not being a simp, but she'll be taken care of.
At least for me personally, if I did find a unicorn, I'd still be suspect. I still would be like, I'd be like, pass. I've just seen too much, know too much, been through too much. I'm just like that. I'm indifferent because you know what they say, like after you've had your heart broken or you know you've been burned so many times, you don't have love or affection. You're just indifferent. That's me. I just have indifference towards it, and that's why I'm like, you know. And Frost says this a lot. Shout out to Frost if he's still in the chat. You know, unless it falls in his lap, he's not going to try.
Yeah, I don't hate women. I gotta address this right quick. Lost Vein 91 says, specify what you mean by hate. The same hate that feminists has for men.
Yeah, so like how they have like misandrous, you know.
Yes. I don't like. Once again, if I hated women, I would hate my own mother. I would have hated my own sister or female family members or any fucking woman I cross. I don't hate women.
Right.
I just say, hey, you're fucking up. Correct yourself.
Mm-hmm. See, the thing, like I've said before, like my dad gave me nuggets growing up, but so did my mom. My mom was telling me about, you know, her own nature growing up and being like, hey, because I'll never forget, like the first time I brought a girl home, my mom actually vetted her better than my dad did. And it was funny because after the fact, she's like, Derek, she's like, you just have to trust me on this. There's something about her and just the way she was. She's like, I can't. And then my sister backed her up. And then lo and behold, she was cheating. So it's just like, okay. Because my mom was like, you know how I know? Because I did that when I was her age. She was like, I know this. Because my mom was traditional. She came from a Catholic background. So like she was traditional. Like obviously she worked. I mean, and then she went actors. That's what my dad was in the army. But both my parents were like giving me nuggets of truth as I was growing up and I started dating, which definitely played a part in my outlook now and why I've never been, even though, because the thing that people will say to me or detractors, whether it's on my channel or sometimes I meet somebody in person or if I'm at an outing, they say, how can you not be for marriage when your parents are still together almost 40 years later? I said, that's exactly why, because I watched my parents' marriage firsthand. And they both were telling me what not to do while going through their marriage, you know?
Yeah, my dad himself straight up told me don't get married.
Yeah, my dad told me that at my sister's wedding. He pulls me aside at my sister's wedding and goes, don't get married. My dad told me that. I was a senior in high school when that happened.
What do you have to say, Lionel McTell?
Yeah, with my uncle. My uncle actually came to me and told me, he said, you know what, don't get married. He's now you're crazy. And then my father said, when I was in my teens, my father said, stay away from fast women. I took his word for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, in chat, let me keep it clear. Me calling out the bullshit that modern women are doing in society today does not equate hatred. Okay?
Exactly. It's accountability.
Exactly.
Yeah, women interpret that as hatred because they're not used to be calling out
Exactly.
and held.
And they're emotional.
Yeah.
They're emotional.
Emotional, and they equate anyone telling the truth with anger or hatred. I'm like, no, if I tell the truth, that means here's the thing. To tell somebody the truth is actually to love them. I mean, the truth hurts, but lies can kill. Exactly. The truth hurts, but lies can kill. Yeah.
And you always hear from them all the time. It's not about what we say, it's how we say it, which I believe is bullshit.
And that's why I still, to this day, I will watch Kevin Samuels stuff, and he'd be like, "Oh, we got the tone police. We got the tone police here." You know,
that's really what it is. I'm like, how else you want me to say? I'm just telling you the truth. What, you want me to sprinkle it with sprinkles and rainbows and all that other crazy shit? No, I'm gonna let you know how it is. But I've noticed it's a big problem with modern women They don't listen to learn. They listen to just respond.
Yeah, like you remember this, Yeetus. I don't know if you had it in your time in service, but we was to take the class on active listening skills and learning how to, not just listen to respond, because most people they act like they're hearing you, but they already have their response already in the queue, no matter what is said. And again, women, a lot of modern women do that. Western women, that's like their thing, and it's always the indicator when. And the same thing goes for men too, or the simps that out there when they start with I feel, the I thinks and I feels, and my response is always, well, guess what? Reality in the real world do not give a fuck how you feel.
Is that the correct me if I'm wrong, is that the motivating class? Like where they try to motivate you?
It was actually a thinking traps class that we had to take.
Really? A thinking trap?
Yeah.
You sure
Some officer, the good idea fairy thought that was a brilliant idea.
Like, that's common sense. Okay. I understand. The good idea fairy strikes again. I completely agree. I'm like, that's common sense. I don't think we need a class on that, bro. But at the end of the day, chat, the red pill philosophy and the men going their own way philosophy, it's not here to promote the hatred of women.
No.
It's not. I'm serious. This is just a reaction of how society is mistreating men. That's it. It's nothing about going out of our way to be a male version of a radical feminist.
No.
Because I best believe, given the opportunity, me overseas, because I am not getting married here, but overseas, if I find a woman that's fit, feminine, knows when to shut the fuck up, and keeps her legs closed, she is a potential candidate for having my kids.
I'll tell you what, though, you better be prepared to stay over there, because if you bring her back here, Western society will poison her.
I always preach to never bring a woman back to the West. I always preach that. Never bring her back. And I don't have to be there all the time.
Exactly.
Personally. Like, in my opinion, I don't have to be there 24/7. I can go back to the U.S. to do my thing, or, go to other countries in order to get this money. And then come back here and there. I could take an extended stay. If I want to stay for like a few months.
Yep.
But
according to
so you understand?
Yeah, but here's the thing though. According to the Cleon bitch, if you go overseas, then that means that you're. If you go overseas, that means that not only are you a sellout, it also means that you're weak.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're dealing with other women. You're weak. They're like, what the.
The fuck?
It's to the point, like the sign language, the shame, insults, guilt need to be right. It's such a tired act. Like, I just laugh at it. When I see it on a TikTok someone sends me to react to, or a conversation I have with somebody in person, I'm just like, man, it's kind of like, some of you guys might get this reference, but the whole juggernaut thing, it's like, still it, bitch. There's who I am. I'm the juggernaut. You still cannot harm me.
Give me one. Cultivus Maximus says, good luck with that, Yeet. Nice knowing you. LOL. What? You act like me wanting to spread my seed is a bad thing? It's a bad thing if I was doing it in the West. A very horrible situation if I did it in the West. But if I go to non-Western countries, depending on the culture, the laws, the religion, etc., there's a way less likelihood of her screwing me over. And she knows this. I know this. We both know.
Me personally, like I said, like I tell people on my channel, hey, it's your life. Yeetus, I will just tell you like I tell everybody else, exercise caution, man. I personally wouldn't even go overseas, but hey, it's your life. Exercise caution, my brother. That's all I got to say.
You're having kids here? If I want to have kids?
I just honestly, I think, like I said it on the channel on my show the other day. I think the Western virus has already gone. It's got overseas. It's slowly spreading there now too.
Okay, you're not wrong. I agree with that, but it hasn't completely taken over just yet. But I know that it is spreading like a aggressive cancer. I agree. I agree with that.
You have to visit countries where they can't afford to.
Okay, Lionel MGTOW, I gotta stop you right there. Women are the same, maybe with lots of problems. Yeah, no fucking shit. That's why I said, look at her religion, look at her parents, her culture, see where her background's from. That's why you gotta vet the fuck out of her before you even consider taking a step further. I'm not doing this shit here in the United States because 9 times out of 10, the mother not only will take my kids away from me, take my car, take my house, take alimony, and take child support, she can, on top of that, take my kid to get chemically castrated because, oh, my kid feels like it's a girl.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, like those parents that come out and say, "Oh, my kid is trans at 3."
I know, but at the same time, there is no problem. There's no issue of a man that wants to spread his seed. But I got so much fucking knowledge at this point to minimize the danger as much as possible. I'm not 100% safe, but I guarantee you I'm able to minimize the possibility.
I just wouldn't do it, and I'll tell you the same thing that I tell Frost when I've been on his stuff. It's like, you know what, man? You know, you're not 100% safe, but if something happens and, you know, you get burned, don't be upset when Daddy Ranger roasts you, and I'll be roasting you out of a place from love.
Well, to death to us part.
Yep.
That's all I can say about that. This is right now. You know, I take the covenant of God very fucking seriously if it gets to that point. If you want to do me like that, okay, so death to us part. One of us got to go. Just saying. Am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong in this one.
No, man. Like I said, like that's the beauty of a lot of these panels, man. Is like, you know what, we've all got. And how did you start this before you even introduced me? You said we probably won't agree on everything. Like I said, I wouldn't even tempt fate. But again, more power to you. Better you than me. Better you than me. I'm just.
Would you? Yeah. So, is it because you don't want to have kids at all compared to
exactly at all?
Have kids?
I don't want kids at all. And like I said, the few times that I do converse or meet a woman, again, it's the ultimate equalizer. I tell them no kids, no marriage. They're fucking gone. They peace out because they know. And many have tried to persuade me. And I said, look, I'm 35. If I wanted to be a dad, it would have happened by now. If I wanted to get married, it would have happened by now. There are 3 women that I could have married and had families with. And you know what would have happened? I'd be divorced 3 times and living on the street. And it's funny, after me, all 3 of these women met their husbands, and all 3 of these husbands are doormats.
Well, I'm not surprised, but that's the reason why I would much rather go to non-Western countries, so they don't have the ability to try to make me a doormat. Because unlike the West, the laws overseas tends to be more fair. It's not completely fair, but it's more fair. Here in the West, women know they hit the jackpot if they're able to get a ring from you. And that's why they treat men here like complete dog shit. And that's why men eventually become complete pussies.
Yeah, and like for me, like again, it's never been easier for me to like stay out of the game too, because again, I don't bullshit, and I tell people, you know, what I'm about. And it's funny, like even today, like I posted my community tab, I actually get more heat from men. My old channels had female hate. I get heat from men, just nothing but men on my stuff now. That's all I get. It's other men, because it's like it's almost like they can't handle the fact that, oh my God, this guy is not plugged into the matrix, and I don't like it, so I'm gonna try to shame and bully him.
Yeah, I preach for the longest time that I want to have kids. That's always gonna be a goal of mine, but it's definitely not gonna be in a place where a woman can easily make me her fucking wage slave.
Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
like myself, I've considered having kids, but just not in this environment, man. It's just this this environment is not conducive to have kids. It's a shit show.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
And also, all the guys that I work with that married and have kids, and like once they've gotten to know me now that I've been at this place a month, and they know about my channel, and they get a kick out of it because they agree with most of it. And even today, again, like once a day, one of the guys who's like miserable, but his kids are all grown, but he's like, Derek, yeah, you know what? He's like, I don't blame you, and then all the other guys I work with are like, yeah, don't have kids. I'm like, I'm not. But I appreciate the reassurance of not having them.
Well, Cultus Maximus says, good luck is all I got to say. What, you want me to go to the fucking Middle East? Want me to go to Afghanistan? Where the Taliban is reigning supreme? Want me to go to Saudi Arabia, Dubai? Which one? If you want me to choose the best possible choice, I'll go over there.
Yeah.
I'll go over there.
Or
Because
Indonesia.
they won't do shit to me over there. The women.
Hey, better you than me, Edis. I wish you well.
They go.
Once again, I know a lot of hope for men in the West has died when it comes to passing on their genes. Knowing what's happening, and because of social media, with all the evidence of women taking mad advantage of having kids, I don't blame the men that say, you know what, I'd much rather not have kids at all.
Yeah, for me, I have too much to lose personally. For me, like keeping it 100. It's just, and again, that's why I look back and I'm like, I'm really glad I did not marry or reproduce with those 3 women that could have been, that were wife material. It just, there were so many other factors too, like ideologies were not the same. Like it just would have been, and again, the fact that I refused to be a doormat, because especially the last girl, she was a bit of a ball buster, and I just never played that game, to the point where when I broke up with her, she like freaked the hell out and like got physical with me. But I was just like, because she called my bluff, and I was like, you loaded the gun and handed it to me, and I pulled the trigger and unloaded the magazine. You know,
what the
and again, I'm so
wait, what the fuck?
No, not a real one, but like metaphorically, she handed me the gun, you know, like to end the relationship.
Damn.
Jesus Christ!
No, metaphorical gun. Metaphorical gun.
Okay.
The ammo was, and I quote, Derek, if you want to end this, end it. So I did. And again, she called my bluff. You know.
Right.
But again, I'm not going to, like this, like I say all the time on my channel, you know, what you want to do, Yeetus, yeah, like I said, like, and when I say better you than me, I'm not saying it as a dig. I'm just saying I know myself, and like I told my parents, who finally tapped out on me becoming a husband and a father, and I always, because my sister popped out 3 grandkids, and she has a successful marriage, her and my brother-in-law. I digress, though. Like I told my parents, I said, look, I'm so self-aware, like I'm too selfish to be a parent. That's the other driving force. Being a parent, you know, your life is not about you anymore. And that's why I harp on single mothers when I say how entitled and self-centered they still are, when they should be worried about their kids. And it's all about them, even as a parent.
Okay, so here's a big question for you then. Are you dead set on not having kids? Or
yeah, because again, I'm actually scheduling a vasectomy very soon.
Well, I'm just saying, are you dead set on not having kids, or?
Yeah, I don't want kids. I never wanted to be a dad. I don't want kids.
I didn't finish the question. Or until there's some changes.
Nope. Even with the changes, I'm 35. I don't want to be an old dad.
Okay.
My whole life, man, would have to completely change. And I do not want to give up that freedom of having to be responsible for another life.
You know, there's plenty of men out there that are a couple decades older than you, and they're not giving up. They're
Well, you know what? I feel sorry for those guys, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, glitch.
I feel sorry for those guys.
Yeah,
I do.
Glitch. Yep, they're
like,
glitch.
you think we done having kids, bitch? Nah, fuck that. We're going
Nope, I do not. Like, I've never been reproductively driven. Nope. And like I tell people all the time, I was a dad in the Army. That's where I was a parent.
Well, you have the
Yeah.
shitty one where you got a bunch of 18-year-olds that's by themselves for the first time in their lives.
Yeah.
You got the shitty end of the stick.
But yeah, just and I appreciate the question though. I do, but I just like I am dead set, you know, again, like I'm very aware, like I don't, and again, like I love being an uncle. I love my sister's kids, but nope, do not, I've just never been driven to be a father. And again, even if the laws changed, I still wouldn't do it. Nope.
I respect that. I respect that. Like,
Yeah.
I know people that are in their 50s actually. They got some boo things around the world, and they don't have kids. So
Yeah.
I definitely respect you for saying, you know what, I'm cool with being the chill uncle, the cool uncle. I know, passing off you know, a 20 or a 100 if they got good grades.
Yep, and my oldest nephew is already red pilled all on his own. And my sister is actually, because my sister knows about my channel too, and she's actually let me start mentoring him too a little bit.
That's surprising.
He's 14. My oldest nephew's 14 going on 30. Like when you talk to this kid, you'd think he's a well-matured, experienced adult. Like he already has his own business. He's 14 and he runs and operates his own goat farm on my brother-in-law's land. It's all his.
Awesome.
It's his thing. Yeah. But his brother, my youngest nephew, total opposite. But it's fine. But yeah, my sister, same thing. Her and my brother-in-law are aware of how things are, and they don't blame me for my beliefs either. Like especially my sister. I appreciate that. Last vein saying I have integrity. I appreciate that, man. But yeah, my sister, she'll say to me, she's like, little brother. She's like, just when I think I've seen the worst, she's like, I watch a video on your channel or I see something. It's funny because you know how that saying, you know, how single women keep other women single or they'll sabotage their friends' relationship or marriages. So my sister, all of her friends she grew up with are single mothers, and she cut them all off.
Very good.
Good. Well played. Well played.
Yeah.
So, Lion and MGTOW, you were going to say something, like.
Yeah. As for the whole talk that so when are you gonna give me some grandkids, or when are you getting married? They press hard for me to, I get this shit all the time, but they press hard for me to get married because I'm basically, you know that Barrett Wallace character from Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah.
That's what I look like.
Okay.
That's actually what I look like. So they press.
You're that dude, huh? LOM.
I'm basically that dude, and they press hard as hell for me to get married. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You want me to give? I'm like, why do you want me to have kids so fucking bad? I mean, what is it?
It's a status thing. It's a status thing for like man or a woman. It's a status thing, but also for the parents to have grandkids. That's a status thing too for a lot of parents. They'll never admit that publicly, though.
It's knowing that their genes will pass on.
My dad, before he finally gave up, my dad was always guilty of me. He's like, "You're the last male," and I'm like, "So the fuck what? Then that's how it is." And my dad was like, and then finally, the last couple of years, my dad was finally like, "You know what?" He's like, "You're right. And I'm like, "Dad, you told me on Lynn's wedding day not to do it, and I'm glad you did."
Well, you know how parents, they tend to change their minds as their kids.
Oh, absolutely.
Get into adulthood. You know, they're like, "Oh, you know, where's your girlfriend? You got a girlfriend? You gonna bring your girlfriend over?" I'm like, hell no.
Yeah. Now my mom is just happy that her only son is happy, and our family's been always very open. Like I get my bluntness from her. But my family's very open. Like they know a lot of stuff about me, about my dating and stuff. And every so now and then, it's like when I had a casual date when I first moved out here. My mom, because she forgot that I was 3 hours behind now, she was calling and she's like, "Oh, did I interrupt?" I was like, "I had a date," and she just started laughing. She's like, "Of course you did." And she's like, "How'd that go?" She's like, "How'd that go?" I said, "Oh, I told her, no kids, no marriage," and she bolted. My mom started laughing even harder, and she's like, "You know what?" She's like, "You do stick to your guns." And I said, "Well, you and Dad raised me to be that way, you know."
Hey, don't get me
It was-
wrong. When it comes to fatherless uncles, that has no kids compared to
Yeah.
an aunt that has no kids, I see the uncle with no kids way more happier than the aunt with no kids.
Well, yeah, that whole stat, you've seen that pushed for the last couple of years, right? How studies show childless and single women are the happiest. It's total bullshit. It's total bullshit.
It is.
And TikTok proves it. TikTok proves it every day.
Exactly. I mean, Republican Fish, I think he did a video where you have all these single mothers, even women like single mothers in their 50s, who are asking where have all the good men going, or if they need help. I'm like, what?
I just did a video the other day about the 60-year-old who's still chasing butterflies, and she was married for 20 years.
60?
And she said, "Yeah."
That's goddamn, that's a rusted tailgate. How the fuck 60? No.
And guess what? She was black. Of course.
Okay, I'm not surprised.
Your fucking standard.
See, I buy my my cousins and my siblings and one of my nephews. I bought them a shit ton of ramen noodles. Why? Because I got the money, and I'm talking about the expensive ones, not the cheap, cup noodles.
I know what brand. Yeah.
You know what brand? Yeah. I'm like, oh, you guys want noodles? They were shocked that they were showered with like almost 70, 80 packets of instant noodles that they love so much. I'm like, yeah, cause your uncle or your older brother got it like that. I don't have to worry about no wife. I don't have to worry about the kids at the moment. It's just me. And I'm loving it.
Yeah, you have a what's the word? Your resources and your assets are plentiful because you don't have extra mouths to feed, and they hate that.
Yeah, you don't have little, as Tom Likas used to say, you don't have crumb crunchers running around.
Have you ever had female family members give you like some type of intervention? Like,
Nope.
Why? Like, okay, I let's just say I pretty much got ambushed out of nowhere, right? I walked into the kitchen, all of a sudden the female family member like, "Why don't you have babies yet?" I was like, "What the fuck? Well, where is this coming from? I'm trying to enjoy this, Captain Morgan, and you here fucking ambushing me with these questions." And they were dead ass serious, honestly. They were like, "Oh, like why don't you have a boo thing? Why don't you have kids? You ain't trying to get married?" I'm like, nope. And luckily my dad saved me because he called me into the living room. He's like, "Hey, don't worry about them. You already know how it is." I'm like,
yeah, I'm getting it. Yeah, I'm getting it. Yeah, because
and it was it's funny. So that first weekend that I was out here in Reno, there's meet and greets, and two older women approached me. This was after that simp parade I told you about earlier. Introduces herself to me. The first thing out of their mouths was, "Where's your ring at? Where's your kids?" And I laughed and I was like, "Not for me." And they just looked at me like I had three heads.
Man,
they're like, "How old are you?" They're like, "How old are you?" I'm like, "I'm 35." And they're like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Nope." And I'm like, "Have a good night."
Remember, chat, late 19th century. The simp word has been around for a very long time.
Oh,
yes. They were talking mad shit about bachelors as well. Yep. In the late 19th century, they were talking mad shit about bachelors.
Yep.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that's actually in the book Age of the Bachelor by Howard P. Chudakov. They called them bachelor simps, and they called them rogue elephants because they would not, like, basically the young men in that generation would not wife up these single mothers.
Yeah.
It was crazy because this was before the 19th Amendment was even implemented. I was like, what the fuck? Like they are really that mad over 100 years later?
Yeah, they're still angry. Oh yeah, they're still pissed off. Yeah.
I'm like, the fuck. See, okay, I have a question for Red Ranger and Lina McDowell. Do you guys honestly believe that the government will get more aggressive when it comes to
Yep.
men contributing to women?
Oh yes, yep. It's just
Oh
gonna
yeah,
happen.
100%.
It's just going to happen because the mere notion that there is a man out there sitting on six figures, enjoying his life, either skateboarding, fishing, having a good time, they fucking hate that. They cannot stand it.
And you saw, hell, CNN just did it a few weeks ago. They're talking about, the rise of single men and all that stuff. Like now that they're pushing it, they're like, oh, well, look at this, and this is why. I'm like, it's only going to get more aggressive. But again, that's the main reason. I'm glad you asked that question. That's the main reason why on my space and my content, I say exercise caution, because it's going to get more aggressive, especially from the government.
Yep.
You heard about, was it Sweden or Norway? I forgot which.
I think it's Sweden.
What Western country it was in Europe, where if a woman feels uncomfortable,
Scotland. Yeah.
If a man feels if a woman feels uncomfortable of a man talking about his sexual endeavors, or if she feels uncomfortable a man looking at her for too long, a man can go to jail for up to 7 years.
That was actually the UK. The UK started it first. The law is called intrusive staring. The UK made it law first.
And then they
intrusive staring.
Yeah, and they act all shocked that men are going their own way. Like, are you fucking?
Why don't they approach us anymore?
I want to go to jail.
Exactly. And they don't want to go to jail. I mean, and like a lot of them are so starved for attention that now that they're becoming gymfluencers to cry wolf in the fucking gym at peak hours.
That's why I say this can't be this situation cannot be a coincidence. It makes no sense.
No.
Based on, Red Rangers can he can agree as well. Based on the analysis of what I've been reading for the last couple of years, there's no goddamn way of what's happening in the West. It cannot be a coincidence. It can't.
No. I mean, then on that gym thing really quick too, it's night and day from where I live to moving out here. There's a gym in the condo here. The first day that I went in there in an afternoon, there was a girl in there. It was just me and her. And I debated doing a video, but I tend to kind of be the guy that I'm like, I don't want to do the topic everybody else is doing at the moment. I wait usually till it dies down, just because I'm like, I got plenty of other stuff I can use. But it's just me and her in this gym. And I'm doing legs, and there's a mirror, and she's pretty much on her phone 90% of the time. I walk in, she sees me, but I keep my head down because, like, I'm not even going to risk it. I have my hood on. I start doing it. She moves right in front of the mirror I'm in, and mind you, again, it's just me and her. And she starts doing those bullshit deadlifts in her painted on leggings, trying to get me to look, because she walked right in front of the mirror I'm using. There's no one else in there. And I just kept looking away and kept my head down and did my reps.
Yeah, that's flex,
Yeah. And then my buddy here, he told me, he goes, dude, it's different out here. He's like, it happens more. And I was like, but again, I'm not used to it, because where I come from, how can I put it? A Maine 10 is like a Reno 3. So, like, but again, it was one of those deals where, okay, I've seen it on TikTok. I've responded. I've commented on videos. And then I experienced for the first time in the gym when I'm here. And I'm like, and then it's happened repeatedly since. But now I just laugh at it. Like, I laughed at a girl the other morning. So it was funny. So I get up pretty early. I go to bed. I'll probably be going to bed after I get off of this. So I go to work early. So I get in the gym around 3:30 in the morning. It's usually me in there. I get in there at 3:30, like last Wednesday. There's a girl in there. And I'm like, there is no bitch on this planet that's that dedicated. I don't care who you are. There isn't. She had the shortest leggings on. It looked like she was wearing wrestling trunks. Like I could see half her cheeks out. And all she's doing is abs and stretching again. It's just me and her in there, and she's doing it right in front of me at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So then I finally, so I said to one of my buddies, and they go, "She's probably a stripper if she's in that early."
She's probably a stripper.
Might
Nah, strippers. What'd you say, Lightning McTow?
She just might be, man.
Nah. I don't see. I go into the gym at 4 a.m. I don't see strippers in the gym. Not that I know of. But I don't see women in the gym.
Yeah.
But I did see. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but LA Fitness had posted it. I think Frost and some others had shared it on their community tab. LA Fitness made it a rule now. Nobody can record anything in the gym anymore.
Good.
But my whole thing, but here's my thing. I said, I'm not going to celebrate until all the gyms make that rule.
Agreed.
Not just one. They all have to make that change.
They need to.
You know, if we're going to stop this bullshit.
They
I
need
saw.
to.
What'd you say, Lightning McTow?
Yeah, they need to, all the gyms need to implement that rule because you notice that these trollops, these trash bags don't pull that shit in these women-only gyms. They do it in co-ed gyms.
Well, guess what? These woman-only gyms are going out of business because they can't get the male attention. They still go to the male spaces.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
See, I got... See... I've learned very quickly when I became an adult that you can't be honest with women.
You can't.
You cannot be honest with women. I'm
sure you can. I do it every day, and it short circuit.
Oh God! I'm just saying. At least when it comes to family members, you cannot be honest with them. Because when
I have to disagree again. I am so blunt with my mom and my sister.
Oh, not just that. I'm talking about extended family members. I remember when I'm like, yo, like, women cannot be friends with women. That's why majority of you guys, majority of motherfuckers got guy friends, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't even go in on the guy friends thing because I could have, but I didn't. I said that's why the quote from Al Bundy, women understand women, they hate each other. Like,
yeah.
That shit was around before I was even born.
And it's funny? I was talking about this at work with the guys the other day, is the whole because it came up organically, can men and women be friends? And I said, yeah, if you're not attracted to them, that's the only way, in my opinion. All my close female friends, I wouldn't touch them ever. I'm not attracted to them at all. But that's
right now.
Yeah, and that's why, and these girls aren't even overweight, but that's why if you're vetting, if you're still trying to date seriously, which I'm not, what I tell younger men, if she's got nothing but guy friends that are straight or her best friend's a straight guy, you got to run. You can't take her seriously because, as you guys know, and you've seen it over the years on social media, when it was a trend when boyfriends were fake breaking up, sitting there with their girlfriends, they called the guy best friend and he was like, oh, you want to fuck? Like after she was like, oh, we broke up. They're waiting for a chance to strike.
Well, do you know what's crazy? I was the bad guy because I didn't want to be alone with my boy's girlfriend. I didn't want to be alone. Mm-hmm. If it's 1v1 in the room, I go somewhere else. And she complained to him, talking about, I don't think he likes me and blah blah blah. I'm like, no, that's not the case whatsoever, bro. Like, just to avoid any type of misunderstandings, if you're not in the room, I'm not in the room.
Yeah.
I had to explain to him. I had to break it down Barney style. Bro, you know how females get. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that your girls like that, but women in general, especially if they're under the influence, they take that chance. If she was attracted to me, Yeah,
the podcast. I'm sure you've seen his clips. He's gotten big. That podcast, whatever. He literally had that conversation with one of the thoughts that he brought on his show the other day. He had said it. He goes about alcohol, and he goes, if you want a traditional guy, he goes, what if that guy won't? He says he's not going to date somebody who goes out and parties. and he talked about cheating and how alcohol impacts that, and she agreed with him. It's like, see, that's the point. Same thing, like to your point about not being alone with him. I've gotten good at the point now, whether I know the girl or not, and if she's attractive or not. It's like I get up and leave if I'm alone in a room with a woman that I'm not with or something, because I don't want to take the chance of being accused or anything. I will not be alone. I will not be alone in a room or at work with a woman. I won't do it.
Yep.
I will not do it.
Yeah, pinch rule. Yep. Pinch rule.
Yeah.
So when it comes to me, hey, I've been friends with this guy. Let me think back. 12 years now. So I have mad respect for this person. So I definitely, once again, and I was taught by my dad as well, and by Red Pill, that maybe you need to respect the relationship. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't hate her. She's pretty cool. She's a cool chick. But there's boundaries that needs to be set. Even if I have to set it myself. Like, listen, you cool, but we're not that cool. It's just out of respect for my boy, out of respect for him. You know, and now I'm gonna be the best man to their wedding. That's gonna be a fun time. But it's not just her. There's various situations, I'm sure you dealt with it as well in the military, where you because out of the threat of Sharp as well, right? You know, the Sharp situation. I can't be alone with I cannot be alone 1v1, because even if she's a good girl or not, there's still a chance that she can pull some bullshit on you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't have a camera.
It's too much risk. Too much risk these days.
Yep.
Exactly.
It's too much risk, and they're still trying to call us cowards for not taking the risk. I'm like,
oh yeah, I love those TikToks where they say, shoot your shot, and they're like, why? Because, you know, either you get accused or they will screenshot your stuff or get you on video and make a TikTok embarrassing you by showing them rejecting you. Because it's an ego thing and a validation thing, the dopamine hit. It's a drug. Oh, shoot your shot. Or like I saw one the other day, this girl goes, men just need to do the work and approach. I'm like, why? So we can be in one of your videos as you reject us or shame us? No. Or accuse us? Absolutely not.
Hell no. Because
unless you are the 6-footer, the 6 figures, that whole tired trope we're tired of hearing, they don't want you to approach them. Or did you guys see that viral clip of the single mom the other day? How the guy approached her in the parking lot and she yelled at him and freaked out, and she was like, "I'm shaking." That little blonde girl, that viral clip's been going around about how she was. What's that?
She was in the car, right?
Yeah, the single mother. Yeah, that's exactly why men don't approach, because I think the guy responded to the comments like she dropped something and he was just trying to return it to her, and she freaked out on him. Yeah.
Man.
Yep.
Is it worth it?
It's not. Oh, would you say Lionel McTow?
Yeah, you're right. It's not worth it. It's better to block, ignore, goes. Fuck them.
And once again, it's not that I'm gonna make it very clear, especially to the chat or whoever's gonna be watching this in the future. We do not hate women, but based on the situation in Western society, this gynocentric system that men are going through, we have no choice but to resort to self-preservation. Yep, and stop letting women into the manosphere. Exactly. Cut that bullshit out. Because look what it's doing. It's causing men to fight and turn each other. Look at the black content space with pearly things and everything recently. Look what that's done.
Yeah, it was completely
Did you see my comments? Did you see my comments?
I did. I did.
she's just pearly things is a snow bunny of the manosphere. Black manosphere.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I dated a girl like her. I dated a girl just like her in college. Same build, redhead, same thing. And that's why I saw it coming. And I was like, the minute I saw one of her clips, I said, this is going to end badly. It won't be today, tomorrow, but give it time. And here we are. Fast forward to 2023. Here we are.
Hey, do you know what's crazier? You know what's crazier? bigger Black Manosphere content creators were defending her. Not all of them, but there was a good amount of people defending her. I'm like, bro, she literally disrespected your ancestors, and you're here fucking defending.
Exactly.
Oh, you're a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. And I threw that shit. Yeah, and I called that shit out of my video too, and I told her that she was a fucking chameleon, but they didn't listen. They did not listen.
Oh yeah, for months. I did one video reacting to her one time on the channel before this one that got nude. I did one video, and nothing but the comments were nothing but dudes, specifically black men, trying to gaslight and shame me and saying I was wrong about her. Well, look who's got the egg on their face now. It's like, I hate to say I told you so. Actually, I don't, because it's like, I told you so. And I'm like, and this is what happens when you keep letting women specifically like her into these spaces. Chaos, destruction, drama. That's what they do best, whether they do it intentionally or not.
Well, what do you think is the driving force of all these men, more specifically black men, defending female?
They're thinking with their little head, not their big one.
Exactly. They let their plumbing do the talking, and some of them are also on the grift.
Like, what does Hammerhand always say? You know, control your biology. One of the many things he says. Yeah, those men don't. They're still thirsty.
Yeah, they don't. Exactly.
So she literally had a known white supremacist on her channel, and she expected no backlash. And I watched her apology video as well. She didn't apologize for shit.
Is there nothing funnier? Is there nothing funnier than a big YouTube content creator doing the typical apology video, and they're always in hoodies? She was in a hoodie too. Is that like some kind of NPC content creator apology SOP that you have to be in a hoodie and be disingenuous?
They tend to cover up, especially the women.
Yeah.
If they have to do a apology video, they have to be more conservative, you know? Like, I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
And she's what? She's what, 25? And she said the type of guy she likes. And her YouTube is for fun. Her family's rich. She does it for fun.
Exactly.
And she's 25. Give it 5 more years. 5 more years, she's still going to be on here. And then she's going to be like, why can't I find a husband?
When it comes to just pearly things, she's a prime example. Because once again, ever since that revelation came out that she brought on a known white supremacist on her channel, the Nick Fuentes guy said numerous racist shit, not only in general, but towards her co-workers and her friend's boyfriend.
Yep.
Just pearly things didn't say shit. She said nothing. She just sat there. In fact, she endorsed the shit. She endorsed it, saying that slavery was embellished. I'm like, bitch.
I said, if it was embellished, then if slavery was not a big deal, then it should have been a big deal when the slaves killed their slave masters. It should have been a big deal then. But it's just,
Bro, I'm telling you, it is insane. In fact, I believe the Roots, because I think she was trying to base her opinions on the Roots show.
Yeah.
It didn't show enough of what black slaves went through.
It didn't.
400 years ago.
It didn't.
You know,
yeah.
And it's funny too. So like, since she tried to get her coworker's channel demonetized when he did his exposure video. Then her former best friend did a video, and then someone, I don't know if it was Chronic or somebody, re-uploaded, and they did a stream reaction to when Pearl brought her parents on, and the comment section was like, wow, you can really see it, because then you found out in that interview, when you listen to it again, Pearl's mom was a 304. And you can see the dad, and then one of the comments, you can see the dad in the comments section was saying, wow, you can just see it on his face. He hates her. Pearl's dad hates his wife.
Damn.
Like, you could tell. And it's like, well, no wonder she turned out the way she has. You know?
The biggest insult is just pearly things are she was giving out wifey classes, wifey courses.
Oh, again, yeah. There's nothing funnier.
Yep.
Nothing funnier than a single woman giving wife courses, giving dating advice.
Yep, on the grift, on the grift. Yep.
It's same thing for a man. Single men and women who give dating advice or marriage advice. What? Hey NFL, can I play quarterback this Sunday?
Yeah, I only give dating advices rarely, like beyond, like very rarely, because once again, I do have experience when it comes to dating. But I will not.
Same.
I won't give marriage because once again, I was never married, so
Right.
I'm not gonna be that guy that thinks that knows it all. You know, it's something that I don't know. and just for the things knows she knows she can get away with this. She knows it. She knows it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, people will remember it.
I'm telling you right now, she's gonna be on the same. She is on the same level of Roma Army. Both of them are committed.
Oh God.
Same with Sarah Dawn Moore, another one.
Yes, her. See, 5 years ago, there was one or two female channels when the, he's gone. There were one or two female channels when it comes to Rep Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, there's a plethora of channels taking our talking points in order to feed their simps the delusion of, oh, I'm not like these other girls.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And the sad part is they fall for it, and they somehow think that because the red pills are coming from a woman, then it somehow is credible. I'm like, no, it's not. It's bullshit. It's fluff.
How are you going to talk about commitment or a relationship well, you're not even in one yourself? It makes no sense to me. In my opinion, it makes no sense.
Exactly.
But of course, the simps, they got to eat it up.
Yeah, they have to eat it up, and then they'll eat it up, and then they'll continue to eat it up, and then somehow they'll say to themselves, "Well, if I get her attention, maybe she'll let me sniff her box." I'm like, you're not going to you're not going to score. You're not going to score, man. It's complete. It's a shell game.
Oh, that's what happened. My phone is about to die. It kicked me off. Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
It's not no issues, bro. No issues.
But yeah,
where's the I'm gonna read one super chat and then I want to hear your final thoughts. I got this super chat from Fat Pat 0665. Thank you very much for your generous donation. Very generous. I appreciate it very much. He says a unicorn only exists in my dreams. Well, you ain't wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong, bro. Like, it's definitely a bitter pill to swallow for the blue pills out there.
Yeah, we're definitely.
But Lionel McTow, what is your overall thoughts of what we've talked about? Not just the subject, but just anything in general. What are your final summary?
Well, it's this. At this point, I don't blame any man worth his salt for choosing to stay single, and considering what's going on over in Europe right now, where these trollops are trying to make change the child support laws so that men who are single still have to pay child support via the state. Our numbers are just going to keep growing, man. It's on autopilot. And I'm going to say this. As for the black community, the black manosphere, and this derision that we're in, the only way that we're going to be able to stop it is if we get these bitch made simps and these Cleon bitches and just get rid of them. Just purge them.
Agreed. And do you have anything to say with the topic of why do we keep doing this to each other, the black community?
The sad part is we do it to each other. Like the reason why our community does it to each other is because a lot of them, it's it's habit. A lot of them don't know any better, and just the ones who do know better, they stop doing it and they just leave.
Yeah, that's why I say, they want to go on a crusade for a fucking criminal, aka George Floyd.
Mhm.
But when there's 10, 20 bodies being stacked up over a weekend in Chicago and Baltimore, etc., nobody bats an eye.
They don't care. I mean, they don't care. And I'm gonna say it like this: they're attracted to these men. They're basically they're attracted to criminals. But if you're productive, you're supposed to be the workhorse. You're supposed to be the stepfather, and we're putting this up to this shit. And actually, 57% of us are single and childless. We've actually put a stop to. We put a huge dent in that stepdad shit, and the pro-wax don't like us for that. The pro-wax are angry with us. The hoochies are mad at us, and I say, keep going. Keep going.
I agree. Unfortunately, if it gets to the point, you may have to almost, not all the way, but almost very close, dissociate with the very community that you came from, because they're not here to help you. They're not proud of you. Your mama may be proud of you, don't get me wrong, but your homies or the people that you used to hang out with on the corner and all that stuff, you honestly think that they're happy that you are the one that made it out of the hood?
No, they're not gonna. They're not gonna ever be happy because you're supposed to stay in the trenches with them. That's why they. That's why they go bug shit if you buy a passport and decide to leave. Like, wait, where you going? Where you going? Just, it's just.
Right, like, oh, you big man now. Oh, you act like you don't know us no more type situation.
But
Like,
I think the problem is that too is becoming the new norm. Just these trollops, these hoochies, they can't reach back, as Brother AC calls it. He calls it the reach back. The reach back is failing. Mhm.
agreed. And literally, until we can get this shit under control of the, how do you explain it? I would say mainly the hip hop culture, which preaches violence and drugs and all that shit. Unless we get that under control, things are not going to be better for the black community at all.
It's not, and at this point, you just gotta do for self.
Exactly, and they hate you for it. They
Exactly.
hate, like, you can tell they don't like that you went a different route.
Exactly. They here's the thing. They reward failure and punish success. It's complete opposite. It's just they reward failure and punish success, and the sane men, the productive brothers, the principal brothers, see that and they're disgusted by it. I'm one of them.
So you will say that the black community back in the 40s and 50s, even though they were under heavy prejudice slash racist situations, it's better than what we have today.
It was better, the men back then and the women back then, they made it work.
I agree. 1,000,000%. I agree.
But thanks to these hoochies and drinking the feminist Kool-Aid, the community has just been in a sorry state. And what's really sad is that these hoochies wanted to stay that way.
They chose to do this. They encourage various women for decades to follow the same path.
And now those women who followed that same path, they're broke. They're hurting right now. I mean, if you check those documentaries or those interviews that they give on the streets of Atlanta, a lot of those women out there who are homeless single mothers. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Then they have the fucking nerve to say that men ain't shit, black men ain't shit, they don't take care of the kid, blah blah blah, and all that other nonsense. But they are under the same laws that we are in, and we are equal in the eyes of the law. But they still exercise their freedom very poorly because they believe they don't have to deal with any type of responsibilities or consequences.
And and the thing is, they don't want to. They don't want to. They want to be financially irresponsible and sexually irresponsible, but you got to foot the bill. And 57% of brothers just said, "Hell no."
Agreed.
Yeah, it's 57%. We're gonna get it to 60%. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, you guys need to understand the black community is pretty much over or it's on life support in 2023. Because both black men and black women are branching out to different races. Because it's gotten so bad due to feminism that we can't even cooperate anymore.
We can't, and the ones who want to cooperate, they get knifed in the back. So until this shit gets fixed, SYSBM, save yourselves, brothers. You got to do that. With that being said,
agree.
With that being said, I better go and get some shut eye. Yeah, I gotta head to work tomorrow. But yeah, you have a good night, Sir Edis.
So good, man. I'm about to eat these tacos. Give them nothing.
GTN.
All right, peace.
Good night, brother. Yeah.
So, chat. Right now, we're going to end it here. I think this was a very productive stream. We almost went 3 hours. So, it's your boy, Sirius. Thank you very much for joining tonight's stream today. On top of that, thank you everybody that was very active in the chat. We have very active people participating in the stream today. I appreciate that. Also, anybody that donated today, thank you very much for your investment in this channel. I got some new art on its way, so definitely stand by for that. That's thanks to you guys. You guys, your donations did that. Okay, not mine, yours. I was able to get this new art. And lastly, hopefully you enjoyed the gems that we dropped on you today. I know that we kind of veered off of the topic like 10 times today. I'll still say that it was a productive conversation. I believe it was. But right now, everybody, I repeat, everybody, go to Undead Chronics channel. I repeat, go to Undead Chronics channel. I am out. Peace.